Here we are. Here we are. Good to see you, Cinderella. I'm glad you came in. Thank you so much. You should really just be a mod over here. I know I can always count on you, and I love that about you. So I hope you're doing well today. Um, can you hear me okay, Sprinkle?
I can.
Good, good. Make sure the sound is good. That's good. Thank you so much. Okay, listen, today we're going to talk about this really weird case. This woman almost got away with this. She got caught because she had a girlfriend. And her girlfriend saw that, uh-oh, she got married while the girlfriend's sitting in jail for murder. So she gets married, and the girlfriend goes, wait a minute, what happened here? So the girlfriend goes back and starts telling the cops what really happened to this poor old man. And he was old. There's a 30-year age difference here. And so then even her own twin daughters actually testify against her. So this case is actually the Texas versus Celeste Beard Johnson. That's what the case is. Now it's an older case, but it had a lot of fascinating scenarios and things that happened here because of how they met, where they were from, who he was, etc. And so I thought it would be fun to just talk about this case for a little bit tonight. It's wild, just wild. It's it it's just wild. But anyway, so here's what we're gonna do. The first thing we're gonna do is where is my little let's go here and get my let's do our fair use disclaimer and then we'll get ready to go. So let's see. All right, where is it? Okay, let's find our fair use disclaimer. I thought I had it right there. You pull all this stuff up, get it ready to go, and then where is it? Oh my. Okay, here we go. Let's do this first and get this done, and then we'll go back to that. All right. Here we go. So, the following statement is required. This broadcast contains commentary, analysis, and discussion protected under Section 107 of the U.S. Copyright Act, commonly known as fair use. This includes the use of publicly available information, media, and reporting for the purposes of criticism, education, research, and news commentary. All materials shown or referenced remain the property of their respective owners. Additionally, this channel does not tolerate false allegations, defamatory claims, or knowingly misleading statements directed toward me, my platform, or my content. Any accusations suggesting that this channel has fabricated evidence, created manipulated images, or engaged in misconduct are categorically false and will be addressed through the appropriate reporting and escalation channels. All individuals discussed in this broadcast are presumed innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. The commentary presented tonight reflects analysis based on publicly available information and is not intended to assert guilt, liability, or wrongdoing beyond what has been legally established. And that's what we're going to go talk about. And she has been legally established that she is guilty of what she's done. So there's that. That's what that is. So we're going to go up over here and let me get this going. Welcome back to the show. We're going to dive into this Texas case that has equal parts of greed, manipulation, psychological warfare. This is a case where a wealthy man opened his home and his heart and paid for it with his life. It's the story of Celeste Beard Johnson, her millionaire husband, Stephen Beard, and the woman she manipulated into pulling the trigger, Tracy Charlton. And who does this sound like? But without money. Gypsy Rose Blanchard, of course. Without money, it's Gypsy Rose Blanchard. She talked somebody else into doing it, and then she was just going to run off into the sunset, right? It's kind of funny. So, get your coffee, get your snacks. It's going to be a little bit of a ride here, but it's going to be fun. You're going to enjoy this story. Well, I mean, if you can enjoy such a horrible story, well, it's not really enjoy. It's kind of like, well, let's just discuss it, because where they lived was over in Westlake Hills. Now, if you know anything about Austin, Texas, Westlake Hills is the absolute place you want to live. We don't live there because we can't afford it. Let's just be honest. I mean, the house they lived in, I'm going to pull the house they lived in up and I'll show you guys. But the house they lived in is now worth $4.6 million. So let me get this pulled up for you. Okay. House. Mm-hmm. You're going to love it. It's beautiful, you know? All right. Let's go pull this up. This is it. No, that's not it. That's the wrong house. Hang on. Okay, we're going to go to Murderpedia because it's on there. Hang on a minute. Let me go to Murderpedia because she's in Murderpedia. You know, all the good cases are in Murderpedia, which is kind of a weird thing, but it is good. Did y'all hear about Gypsy Rose Blanchard has now been, listen, she's now been blocked from Wikipedia because she attempted to make changes to Wikipedia so many times that they blocked her. She's not allowed. I think that's funny as shit, don't you?
That's good. That's good.
Yeah, she needs to be blocked. Oh, girl, what do you think about the latest about the damn video that came out with her cutting up that blanket? What do you think?
God, I know. She's it just shows she can come unhinged at any moment, you know?
Absolutely. Yeah.
And she's trying to say, I saw that she's trying to say that that blanket was a like a 1 year anniversary gift between her
Mm,
and Ken, and it meant so much, and that's why she wanted to destroy it.
it's funny.
But
Well, it's not
you
funny, but
have
it is true.
you have a baby. Come on. Where's your baby when you're acting like this? Your baby, so what happens when your baby starts crying when you're in the middle of a fit like that? How are you going to treat your baby? You're not going to treat your baby soft and soothing. And so what if the baby starts screaming bloody murder right and she's in the middle of a fit like that? What's going to happen?
Yeah. You know, there's a lot of people that think there really is not a baby. But the funny thing about it is the I'm getting this to come back up here. The the sister-in-law, or what would be her sister-in-law if she was actually married, was telling us there is a real baby. Aurora is real,
Hmm.
even though some
Yeah,
people think she's not real. She's absolutely real. Now, I believe what Autumn is telling us because why would she lie? Of course, they're all,
right,
listen, because her brother Ken says, I know this is a different story, but we're going to come back to it. Her brother Ken says, you betrayed me. Well, when you use the word betrays, that means you told something you shouldn't have told. That's what
right,
betrayal
right,
is. Or you've done something you shouldn't have done. It's not you went out and told a lie, it's you went out and told the truth, something they wanted to hide. Okay, anyway, let's see. Let's pull this house up. It's a lavish mini mansion over there in Westlake Hills, and you're gonna just love it. Let me see if I can get it to come back up here. It's 5,300 square feet. Let's see. I had this address the other day. I gotta find it now. Okay, let's see. Damn it. I found it in Zillow the other day, but I don't remember the damn address. Now I'm going to have to go find it again. It's beautiful. I know that other people live there, but let's see if we can find it right here. Hang on. Hmm. Just a second here. Just a second. Oh, lots of photos over here on this mess. All right. This is good. Okay. Okay. Well, we're going to be using part of this, but I'm not going to. Let me pull it up from over my phone. I'll be able to put the actual address in there, and then we'll be able to find it. So because my chat thing on my uh, 365 doesn't want to pull it up, I guess because people do live there, and it is somebody's home. And I guess it's like, no, you don't want to show that. But yeah, I kind of do. I want y'all to understand what Westlake Hills looks like, and the reason why I wish I lived there. Oh boy. Okay, let's do it this way. Yeah, I really do believe that you know he needs Ken needs to be really careful because we know they always repeat their behaviors. And if she's making these videos already when she gets pissed off at him, because this wasn't the first one, they also discussed not the headboard video, but another video that she put out because Ken was out of town working supposedly, and she was upset because she was home alone with a colicky kid. So she made this video about, oh, I don't get any sleep. This child's got colic, blah 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 blah, and she put it out there to make Ken feel bad because he was out of town. So this is something that she does all the time, but we didn't know it until now. So yeah, it's kind of interesting. Now that
well,
we should have known it. Yeah.
she's manipulated people her whole life. That's all
Mm-hmm.
she's known, is how to manipulate people with emotions. I mean, she manipulated her mom. She manipulated Nick. She tried to manipulate Dan. That didn't work over. That didn't go over too well. That's all she knows.
Right. Okay. Let me see if it's right here. It might give it to me right here. Westlake Hills, Austin. Okay.
I
Is
don't
it
know why
hot
she
that
just
it
doesn't
does?
do herself a favor and just get off social media.
I wish
Just
she
get
would.
off,
Hmm.
just get off. Go live
But
it. You
she,
want to have a normal life, go live a normal life. That's what she
she,
cried about to her mom, is that she couldn't have a normal life. And she
right.
has every opportunity to do so now, yet she chooses not to. I mean, I have no idea how much money she makes from being on social media, but
Hmm.
how much money is it worth? Is it really worth everything, or is it worth just having a nice, peaceful life and to raise your baby? Like, what's the trade-off here? Is she making that much money to make it worth her while?
Well, with 9 million followers, yeah, she is.
But she doesn't get that many views. I mean, she has 9 million followers, but if you equate her views to what her followers are, 25, 30, 40,000 views on 9 million isn't a whole hell of a lot.
You don't think so?
I think,
Well, I
if
mean,
you
I don't
have,
know. I know most of it's on TikTok. Uh-oh. Hey, guys. Okay, hang on. Let me let this. What are you doing, little girl? Go get you some water, silly girl. Hang on, my little girl Frenchie's like, oh man, I gotta go get some water, mama. Anyway, well, I mean, she's mostly on TikTok because her YouTube channel did not do very well.
no,
So it has like 40,000 followers, but it's like she never goes on there anymore because every time she goes on there, guess what happens? People start ragging on her and doing what they should be doing so we can get her the hell off of social media. Just get off,
yeah,
you know? All right. Found the address I'm looking for. Here we go. Now, I'm going to show you this house. I'm going to show you this, but here's what I don't want you to do. Stop that. No, go away. What I don't want anybody to do is please do not go over there and look at this. I mean, hopefully anybody who watches this does not live here and they don't go over there and bother these people. I just want to show you where she lived and what a ridiculous dumbass to go over here and kill her husband. She had a great life. I don't even understand. Why was she so unhappy? Why would she do this to herself, right? I don't know. So I'm going to start with it. This is off. Of course, it's not on the market, but I wish I could black that out, but I can't. Okay, so this is a 4 bedroom, 5 bathroom, 7,300 square foot home. He was 30 years older than she was. Look at this house. It is beautiful. Look at all that bright. Isn't that a beautiful pic? Look at that. It's gorgeous.
wow.
Yeah. I mean, who wouldn't be
That's as
happy
big as
there?
my apartment.
Right.
That room
I
is as
mean,
big as my apartment.
I mean, of course, it's a lot bigger than my house by about 3,500 square feet or so. So, well, more than that. Ours is 3,745. So, yeah, Jesus, it's a beautiful home. I don't understand. Look at that pool. Look at the
Wow.
lifestyle. Look at those. Isn't that beautiful? Look at that. It's beautiful. Anyway, I just wanted to show you that this is where she was living. Whenever she decided, you know what, I got to get rid of this man. Yeah, well, yeah, what the hell? Why did she need to kill him? She had a great life there. He gave her an allowance every month. She also, after being married so long, he put money in an account for her. And there was some kind of prenup agreement where, after X amount of time, she got this much money, but if she stayed longer, she would get this much money. Why wasn't that good enough? I'll never understand it. I mean, what a
Yeah, I don't
dumbass,
either.
right? You know? Okay, so here.
Where do I sign up?
Right. How do we do this? Well, I'm going to tell you how to do it. And you're going, going, really? That's all I got to do?
Yeah.
Okay. Let me pull this up over here. I'm going to show y'all something else. It's an interesting story, but it is horrible. I mean, when your own twin daughters testify against you, something's really wrong, isn't it? Right?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's get up here. I'm going to show you some pictures. We're going to go. Okay. This is Mr. Beard right here. Now, Mr. Beard was a well known man in the Austin area. Mr. Beard owned a television station and he sold that television station for millions of dollars. I still watch that television station every morning when I watch the news. Okay. This channel, Fox 7 Austin. Okay. So the story is really about Celeste Beard Johnson, her millionaire husband Stephen Beard, and the woman that she manipulated into pulling the trigger, which was Tracy Tarleton. Now, I'm also going to show you Tracy Tarleton's picture. Let's go on down here. Now this is, look at this picture right here. Can you see that? I can't make it any bigger, but this is Tracy with Celeste. This is Tracy over here, and this is Celeste over here. Okay? Then this is Celeste with Stephen. Now, Mr. Beard was quite a bit older, and she knew he had all this money, right? Because what she did is she went and got herself a job at the Austin Country Club. Now, everybody that's anybody is a member of the Austin Country Club. We are nobodies because we are not members of the Austin Country Club. This is where you get a job as a single person to go meet your millionaire. Actually, I'm just joking. No, but that really is how she met him. She got a job over there, and so they met at the Austin Country Club. Well, he kind of took a liking to her. But the funny thing about all of it is his own children had told him, she's playing you. But no, he would not listen. He would not listen at all. Now, Stephen Beard wasn't really a celebrity. He wasn't a politician. He was just a retired TV executive who built his fortune the old fashioned way. He worked hard. He made smart investments and did a whole lot of hustle. He was 70 years old when he met Celeste. He was a widower. His wife had been dead maybe 3 weeks, and he moves this woman in his house. They started out telling the families, well, she's just a cleaning lady. She's just here to help me. Okay. Well, you can see, wow, right. Yeah, she helped herself. That's right. She sure did. I mean, he was very, very wealthy. Um, it's just bad. Let's talk about Celeste for a minute. Now, Celeste, she grew up in a turbulent home. She had a long history of instability, emotional, financial, and just relational issues. She's very charismatic. She had a lot of charm, but she was deeply manipulative, like all sociopaths are. And that's right, I'm gonna call her just what I call her. Because to me, anybody who can take somebody else's life in cold blood, the way this was done, just like Gypsy, is a damn sociopath. Period. Now I know they have a different name for it now, but that's okay. I'm gonna use the old fashioned word, exactly what it is. Right. So Celeste herself had gotten married young. She divorced young. And then she married again and she divorced again. But she had twin daughters, Jennifer and Christina, who would later become the key witnesses in this case. That's how bad it is. Now, when Celeste met Stephen Beard this is what's wild, at a mental health facility where she was being treated for depression, he fell for her incident. Now, there's a little bit of controversy about this because it was my understanding they met at the country club. So I don't know why this over here is telling us that they met at a depression clinic because why would he be at a health facility? There was nothing wrong with him. But she was 30 and he was 70. That's quite an age difference, 40 years, right? And within months, she had moved into his mansion, married him, and gained access to this lifestyle that she had never known. I mean, Stephen thought that he was going to rescue her, but Celeste, she saw it as exactly what she did, exactly what it was. She wanted the money. She could care less about that man. All right. She even talked to other people and say things like, "Oh God, as soon as he gets home, I have to put him to sleep." I know you're asking, what does that mean? Well, that means that when she makes his dinner, she puts a little something extra in there, and then he's sleepy and tired and goes on to bed, and then she's free all night to do whatever it is she wants to do, spend whatever money she wants to spend, etc. And by God, that's what she was doing. A lot of money. I mean, she would go on these shopping trips, and it wouldn't be like, we might spend $300 be, oh my God, freaking out. She's over there spending $300,000. Right. Now, she had never seen money like that. She didn't know how to handle it. It's ridiculous. Now, let's talk about Tracy for a minute. Now, Tracy Charlton also is another sociopath. Tracy was a bookstore manager in Austin. She's a very smart person, but she was a very lonely person. She was struggling with mental health as well. And she is the one that met Celeste at the treatment center, and they instantly became friends because Tracy was interested in Celeste in a romantic way. Now, the thing about it is, Celeste had never been romantically involved with women, but she could see how she could manipulate Tracy into doing things that she wanted her to do. Perfect scenario. Perfect scenario. It's another Nick Hit and Gypsy right here. Gypsy knew she could talk Nick into anything. And this is what's going on here. See, Celeste knew exactly what she was doing. She fed Tracy stories, lies about Stephen being abusive. Stephen is a 70-year-old man. How is he being abusive to Celeste? How? I mean, he's sleeping all night because she's putting drugs in his food. She would, I mean, she told Tracy that she was trapped there. She wasn't trapped there. She could have left anytime she wanted to. You know, she
Yeah,
painted herself as, yeah, go ahead.
with a with a $10,000 a month allowance, she could have went anytime.
That's right. There was no reason. She was not trapped there. That's ridiculous. She just painted herself as a damsel in distress. And what did Tracy do? Oh, I can save her. The old I can save her. We've all seen people like that. Well, it wasn't love. Celeste was actually grooming Tracy. Tracy didn't realize she was being groomed. Tracy didn't realize she was being groomed until she's in prison for the incident. And Miss Celeste Beard over here is now Miss Celeste Beard Johnson because she's remarried somebody else. I mean, it just gets bigger and bigger. So Tracy really deeply loved Celeste. She really wanted a relationship. She wanted to stay in Celeste's life, and she would do anything to stay there. But Celeste just kept, and she kept pulling her in, pulling her in, pulling her in, just the usual grooming situation. But there was one person in the way, and that was Mr. Stephen Beard. Now, he's already 70 years old. I don't guess they could wait for Stephen Beard to pass away naturally. I guess they couldn't wait that long, just like Gypsy couldn't wait either. Remember? She didn't want to be trapped there another 20 years. I remember her talking about that. Let me shut this door over here, guys. Just a classic, lay down, baby, classic situation. What in the hell is she doing? Okay, go. Go. Up to you. All right, then. I'm sorry. It's a classic situation of a love triangle here, period. So this is what happens next. So on October the 2nd of 1999, Stephen Beard is again asleep in his bed when all of a sudden, now here's the funny thing. Now I'm going to give you a scenario about, you saw that beautiful home. She said, well, that home had soundproof rooms, that she never heard anybody in the house. Nobody woke up and heard anything. But yet, Mr. Beard is asleep in his room and he has been shot in the gut because, let me tell you why. Celeste told Tracy prior to this, don't shoot him where there's a lot of blood. I don't want my carpet in my home messed up. I don't want to have to, replace things because there's blood on it. This is a true story, guys. True story. So she says, well, I'll just shoot him in the gut. And she did. Now, the weird thing about it is he didn't die. I guess they didn't realize this because it was buckshot. All right. She used buckshot. Now, the next thing that happens, he wakes up. He realizes something has happened to him. He starts calling 911 himself. She, of course, is not coming out of her room because they slept in separate rooms because she told Stephen, I can't sleep with your snoring. Really, it's because she didn't want him touching her, right? She didn't want him touching her. So, um, he's calling 911 and he's telling them, I've been shot. Now, as he's telling them this in the 911 call, he's saying, they've blown my guts out. This is what he's telling 911. They've blown my guts out because he's seeing that his little intestines are kind of falling through the hole that's in his stomach from the buckshot because it was point blank. I'm telling you, this case I'm sorry, there's some trigger warning we got to talk about there. So, you know, he survives this initial attack, but then months later, complications from this wound leads to his death. Now, the complications from the wound were intentional by Celeste. She was taking care of him, pretending to try to save him. She was going to do the right thing, and she had nothing to do with this, and she doesn't know why Tracy did that. She just doesn't know why Tracy would do something like that, right? So It came to find out, and this is her twins, the two daughters, actually said in their testimony that, their mother would go out there and do gardening or whatever and not wash her hands on purpose because she wanted him to get an infection and die. And pretty much that's what happens to him. So months later, he is all infected from which she was caring for his wounds, and he passes away. Okay. Then after this, but while this is all going on, she's out shopping and spending that money and living her best life. She is. And the police think, well, Tracy did this out of jealousy. Tracy just wanted a romantic relationship. And then when Celeste was not interested in it anymore, Tracy decided to go take Stephen out. That's what was originally said. They thought, and they also thought at one point, well, must have been a burglary gone wrong. But see, nothing was stolen. There was no forced entry. There was no signs of a struggle. Then they find that link of Tracy Tarleton. Okay. Now, when police question Tracy, at first she's not telling anything. She's not going to tell. But then she admits that she pulled the trigger. But she says she didn't act alone. But see, they can never pin anything on Celeste at first. That's what's wild about this story. She says that Celeste manipulated her, used her, and promised her a life together. And then came the bombshell. Tracy says that Celeste told her the only way, now hear me out, this is another Gypsy and Nick right here. The only way we can be together is if Stephen is gone. Well, the only way we can be together is you have to kill my mother. Same thing, exact same thing. Well, okay. But there was really, at first they did not have proof that this is what happened. But then they started getting the proof. Okay. Because remember, this is 1999. It's old. This is old technology, old DNA, old all of that. There was no cell phones. Did we have cell phones in 1999? No. Well, yeah, there was bag phones. There were a few phones, but not like they are today. In fact, you know what? Let me look at something. I'm trying to remember. When did we first get our first cell phones? Now, my dad always had a phone in his truck. I mean, but he owned this part of this construction company. And of course, they had these phones in their trucks, like the old. I mean, it looked like a regular rotary phone. That's what it looked like, but it was mounted in his truck. So let's find out, when did cell phones become available for everybody? Because I don't remember. All right, I know I should remember this. No, weren't available. Hang on a minute. Let me look this up. Okay, let's see. For everyone, let's see. Okay, in the late 1990s, early 2000s, while the first introduced in the 1980s, but they were big, bulky, and they were like $4,000 items for executives back then. So, but the mass of people did not start getting cell phones until late 1990s, early 2000s. So she may have had a cell phone. I'm not sure. But anyway, so the next thing that happened, well, detectives start digging into Celeste's spending habits because nothing looked odd other than she was spending more money than she normally spent. Her behavior and her statements and her financial motives. And see, it starts all adding up. But the only person who went to prison at first was the girlfriend. She didn't go to prison at first. She was out there still enjoying her life, right? Tracy says. She stood to inherit millions, and she did. She wanted that mansion, she wanted that lifestyle, she wanted that money, but she did not want Stephen Beard. She never wanted Stephen Beard. She was never attracted to Stephen Beard, period. Now, here's what goes on. Tracy over here decides to take is that correct? Hang on a minute. Let me look over here. Let me look at this one little thing here. She spent $10,000 a month. I want to come back to this other part because it says, I thought there was a trial that happened and then something else happened. Hang on. Oh, let's talk about Tracy for a minute. So Tracy is a heavy-set, plain-looking 35-year-old. She had a rather troubled life with bouts of narcotics and alcohol abuse, and she's attempted suicide and psychological problems. The daughter of a well-respected Fort Worth lawyer, she graduated from Texas A&M in 1986 with a degree in biology. Let me let me switch this. Well, so that tells me she's pretty damn smart. And the reason why I know this is because my child is in pre-med with his with chemistry and biology anyway. So yeah, I mean, you got to be pretty damn smart to get that degree. So let's go back over here. So, I mean, it's not like she grew up poor or anything because she didn't. She worked in several unfulfilling natural resource jobs with the government before she went over at the book people and became a manager of a bookstore. Now, see, it doesn't make any sense at all that she's got this degree of biology, but she's over there managing a bookstore. What is this about? I mean, that had to be very unfulfilling for her. I don't get it. But so she started working 60 hours a week at the bookstore. Now, Tarleton was a lesbian, and she felt comfortable sharing her sexuality with a circle of open minded friends and colleagues that she developed over at Book People. Now, Book People was this hoity toity bookstore in downtown Austin, not like Barnes and Nobles. It was a different kind of a bookstore. Okay. Anyway, she excelled at that job and she moved up to being a manager pretty fast. She finally earned the regional notice in the book world, appearing on C-SPAN to talk about books and turning up to the newspapers and things like that. She was known. It's not like Tracy was some, wallflower that nobody ever knew. She was a well-known person. But in February of 1999, Tarleton suffered a very public nervous breakdown at work. So at that point, she, with encouragement from the family and friends, she checked into St. David's Pavilion and Austin Mental Health Facility to try to regain her balance. Now, there's nothing wrong with that. I'm glad she did. And there's nothing wrong with asking for help. You should ask for help, right? But here's the problem. Here's what happened. Celeste Beard, meanwhile, was having problems of her own. For one thing, she was spending her husband's money like a crazy person. And right. And Sprinkle told us, well, she had $10,000 a month allowance. What the hell, right? Her three walk-in closets were lined with hundreds of pairs of shoes, each with a purse to match. She could have gone a year and a half without wearing the same footwear. That's how many shoes she had. She once went and spent $50,000 at once. She would throw extravagant parties for her friends on a whim, and then she spent $100,000 on a month-long trip to China in 1998. Beard was wealthy, but not a Donald Trump. Poor guy. I feel bad for him, I do. But Celeste and Stephen, I mean, he had an estimated $12 million. In just 4 years of marriage, Celeste had raced through over $1 million. Well, Mr. Beard, they would get into fights about the money that she's spending. Of course they did. He's a 70-year-old man who worked his ass off, and saved and did everything you're supposed to do so he could enjoy his retirement. And at 70 years old, you're not old. Let's just talk about that for a second. Look, I'm going to be 66 years old in September. I don't consider myself old, and I'm looking forward to my golden years over here now that we're empty nesters, right? I'm sure he was too. He had raised three children of his own with his wife. So the issue reached a crisis stage when Beard's accountant tallied up that in 1998, on holiday shopping and entertainment, she had blown $300,000. Now, how do you blow $300,000 for holiday shopping and holiday parties? Who in the hell is she? What is she doing? What is she buying? It's craziness. It's craziness. It absolutely is. Okay, so when Beard vowed to take away all of her credit cards, Celeste threatened suicide. Now, that's where it gets juicy because with this suicide threat, she ends up over at the same hospital as Tracy. That is where they meet. So it becomes, so she goes to the hospital in March of 1999 and she meets Tracy Tarleton. Now, Tarleton was immediately smitten by this attractive, she had long legs, and they were writing love notes to each other. It's so weird. I mean, it's weird. Celeste, this is one of the love notes that she wrote to Celeste. And this is from Tracy. Celeste, you're so beautiful. I think about your long, silky body and your incredible long legs, and I just can't stand it. And then I think of your incredible face, and I want to stand outside your building and wail until I get arrested. We won't even talk about what happens when I think about your sweet, tough, sexy voice. Blech, gross, right? Now, Christopher Deuce was not alone. I mean, Christopher Deuce was telling people about Tarleton, right? He was suggesting Tarleton's name to the authorities whenever when Mr. Beard was first shot. They were like, oh my God, who would do this to this man? Well, this Christopher Dose guy was saying, well, it had to be Tarleton. He was already trying to tell them Tarleton was a part of this. When the news of Beard's shooting broke, a lot of people stepped forward to identify her as a possible suspect. I mean, everybody thought, well, it had to be her, right? This is what the investigators were saying, except Celeste Beard. Now, Detective Rick Wines paid Tarleton a visit at her apartment 2 days after the shooting. And here's what he says. We asked if she owned a 20 gauge shotgun. She said yes, she did. This is what Wines told CBS 48 Hours. This is a big case. I mean, there's a lot of shows and movies about this. Tarleton was an avid skeet shooter. Somewhat reluctantly, she agreed to hand over her shotgun for ballistics testing. It was a $1,000 Franche manufactured in Italy, and it was engraved with Tracy's name. It was a gift from her father. But here's the sad thing. A few days later, police had the results. Tracy Tarleton was arrested. Now here's her photo right here. Here's her arrest photo. Now look at her. There you go. Now, the shotgun shell that they found at the scene came from the shotgun that they found at Tracy's home. You know, we always know that 2 and 2 makes 4, and so she was the one that they knew she was there, and they knew that her gun was used. They just don't know if she pulled the trigger yet, do they? Now, on October the 8th, 6 days after the shooting, Tarleton was arrested and charged with assault. The reason why she's charged with assault is because he's still alive. He didn't die. They thought he would, but, no, she didn't die. He didn't die. Now, meanwhile, Stephen Beard, he's kind of recovering, and he would have made a full recovery had he not been infected with germs by Celeste. She just couldn't leave it alone. She got lucky. She could have gotten away with this, but no, she kept on and on. She wanted him gone. Well, his assailant had taken poor aim in the darkened bedroom. His brain and heart were spared, although his digestive organs were disseminated. Yes, because it comes out later that Celeste said, don't make a blood mess. Isn't that wild and crazy? His condition stabilized after 7 different surgeries. 7 surgeries, all right? Now, he was eventually released from the hospital, although he was considered to be at continued risk of infection due to the nature of his wound. Shotgun wounds to the midsection can kill slowly. But he would have survived, though. That's what's wild about this. When the digestive tract is perforated, the leakage can prove deadly through any number of infections, including, I will say this wrong, I know I am, peritonitis, or bacterial sepsis in the blood. I'm pretty sure it was bacterial sepsis that got him. Now, Beard was treated with antibiotics to head off any infection. His recovery seemed to be on course when he was released from the hospital on January the 21st of 2000. Now, this happened in October, but he was released from the hospital in January. That's 3 months in the hospital. You know what? After he gets home from the hospital, he dies 4 days later. Had he stayed in the hospital, he would have still been alive. Now, Celeste Beard was vigilant and loving wife in her husband's final months. Sure she was, right? Fred said she spent countless hours at Stephen's side. Yet there's this indisputable evidence that she managed to console herself with her favorite pastime, shopping. Now, this is a whopper right here. Listen to this. Beard's accountant would later reveal that Celeste spent $321,000 during October and November of 1999, and an additional $249,000 by December the 10th, and another $100,000 6 weeks later, ending March 31st of 2000. I want you to count up that much money. $321, $249, and $100,000. What the hell was she buying? What is going on here? Let's see how much money that actually is. Hang on, guys. Let's add it up. Let me get my little calculator out of here. It's shocking to me how are you spending that much money? I don't even understand it. I mean, are you buying homes? What are you buying, right? Let's see. So we're going to start at 249 plus, let me go back up one. Plus 321 plus 100. $670,000 from October through March. That is a lot of money. My God. Now, investigators reasoned that the circumstances of the shooting were too odd to be just a coincidence. And what do we always say? There is no coincidence in true crime. There isn't. We know that, right? There's always something's going to link these things together. Yeah. Anyway, so so this woman who was in love with Celeste Beer had murdered her husband. Well, not really. He was alive until 4 days after he got out of the hospital. Now, common sense would suggest that that the widow Beard had played a role. But see, Tracy Charlton was not going to snitch on her. Was not going to tell her. The prosecutors dangled offers for plea bargains if she would just talk. But she sat mute, marking time in jail month after month. Here she is. Let's look at her picture right there. She is. Oh boy. Mm. Now, she wasn't going to say anything. Now, Tracy Charlton is taken to court. A grand jury called her to hear evidence in the case and was kept active for more than a year after Beard died because prosecutors hoped Charlton would have a change of heart and implicate Celeste Beard. They finally gave up, and Charlton was indicted for murder February the 16th of 2001. So this is a whole year later she's actually indicted. And then came the unexpected. Harton had a revelation, but it had nothing to do with anything proffered by the prosecutors. See, she's sitting in jail and she's reading the Austin newspaper, and she saw an item before her where her beloved Celeste. Here we go. The widow Beard had gotten over her loss and had quietly wed Cole Johnson, a bartender and musician in a part-time bar band, and a lovely private ceremony amid the mountains of Aspen, Colorado. Whoops! So Tarleton is dumped in jail. She's been duped. She realizes, oh God, I'm the only one that's going she doesn't love me. What the hell, right? I mean, I don't know why it took her so long to decide to tell on her, but all right. So this enraged woman asked to meet the prosecutors. And she spoke with words. I mean, after 18 months, she goes, I did it for Celeste. Now, when Nick actually admitted it when he was arrested, this woman waited 18 months to tell the truth. But see, I don't think that Nick has ever told the truth anyway, because remember he tells us, I will take it to my grave. Until this day, Nick Godejohn has not told us what that one thing is. Now, we all think we know what it is, and we all think we know that actually her mother passed away on the day before. Nick got there at 2 o'clock in the morning on the 10th. I believe her mother passed away on the 9th, not the 10th. But anyway, here we go. Oh, so she spoke those words after 18 minutes. I did it for Celeste. Celeste's marriage to Cole Johnson was her fifth trip down the altar. Now, listen, I can't say anything about how many times somebody's been married. I really can't. I mean, I got my own stories. And I always tell people, don't laugh at me. Just laugh with me because I laugh about it. It's okay. Yes, it's no secret. My first husband was killed by a drunk driver. And I married somebody else for 13 years. And, well, let's just say that didn't work out. And then I got married again. And, well, I found out a lot about things about him I didn't know. I wish I would have known. Um, my final straw was when he wrecked my car and got two DWIs in a 30-day period. I was like, okay, listen, this is not for me, right? So then I met my present husband, and this is my last husband. So I'm just 4 times. Okay, I admit it. It's okay. I just say laugh with me, not at me. So I'm not
Yeah,
going to say
that's
anything,
fine. Who cares?
right? Shit happens. That's the way I'm going to put it. Actually, no, I did not know that my third husband was a damn alcoholic. The thing is, when we first met each other, we're just going to get off topic for a little bit. When we first met each other, sure, we were going out and stuff, and we were going, I lived in Bryan College Station, and it's a college town, so we'd go to the bars and stuff and just have fun. I had no idea that he was actually an alcoholic. So we get married, and things are going along, and then I mean, it would be like, okay, well, he's worked all day. He just wants a little beer when he comes home. Okay. Well, then he got to the point where I noticed he was drinking an 18-pack every night. Okay, and then I noticed, I mean, it just started getting worse and worse. And I'm like, what the hell's going on here? Well, and then that second DWI in a 30-day period, I'm like, this is a serious problem. We're done. Anyway, so let's go back over here. So Celeste goes, um, Celeste's marriage to Cole Johnson was her fifth trip to the altar. And, it really was. she thought it was going to be this blessed event for her because she thought that she was going to use this man's millions and they were just going to have a great life, right? There were going to be no problems at all. But that's just not what happened here. Celeste was raised in Ventura County, California. She was one of four children adopted to Edwin and Nancy Johnson. It was not a childhood filled with Golden State sunshine. See, she talked about how she was sexually abused by her adoptive father from age 4 to 12, and then her adoptive mother psychologically unstable and was institutionalized several times. She blames the abuse for her later problems in life. Now let's talk about that for a second. Now, as we know, every one of these people blame what happened to them in their childhood as to why that they have to do the things they do, right? Because let's just face it, everybody who's been abused as a child should go out and just kill somebody. Is that right? No. See, that makes me so mad when they start blaming it on childhood trauma for the reason that they go on a $670,000 spending spree, get married another time. I mean, come on. But we've seen this over and over. It's not new behavior. I mean, Sprinkle, how many times have we seen this? How many of these cases that this is what
Oh,
happens?
over and over and over and over again. Look
Yeah,
at Letitia. Letitia,
yeah, right.
you know, she blamed it
Letitia
all
Lookhart,
on
right.
her.
Even the guy that got put to death yesterday, that we did our death watch on, or execution watch on. He was actually his final time of death was 6:19 p.m. yesterday, over in Florida. He blamed his problems on the fact that he was sexually abused as a child. Right. That's why he maimed an 8 month old and then killed a 5 month old 2 years later. See, it's all because of that, wasn't it? Right. Okay. Now we'll go back over here. So she blamed that for all the problems in her life. In fact, during a conversation that was recorded by her daughter Christina, she said, "Do you know what it feels like when you're 4 years old? You aren't even in kindergarten. Do you know what that does to you?" Now, Christina Beard, now here's another part to the story. Mr. Beard was such a kind man that he adopted her set of twins. He adopted them. Even though, the guy signed his rights over, that was it, he adopted those children. And he had already raised three children of his own, so now Mr. Beard has adopted this set of twins, which he gave them a great life. You know, he did. So she said, then Christina Beard said, she said she was later sexually abused by an older adoptive brother as well. Now, Celeste attempted suicide during her puberty years. So, right back then, okay, so we know something's going on here because she's attempted suicide when she was younger, right? So, there are problems. She has mental problems. We know that for a fact. They were not brought on by marrying this old man. That's not what happened here. Um, she got pregnant at 17 and married another teenager. His name was Craig Bratcher, and gave birth to these twin girls, Christina and Jennifer. Now, Jennifer Beard, uh, she was briefly married to somebody, but she had bouts of physical abuse and restraining orders. So Christina was not, but Jennifer had a lot of problems. She was divorced in 1983, but Celeste proved to be the marrying kind. Now, she soon wed Harold Wolf. Okay, so now we're actually talking about Celeste over here now. She was married and divorced in 1983, and then she married a guy named Harold Wolf, an Air Force mechanic, but they divorced in 1991. Now, this is according to Celeste. Her divorce lawyer paid for her to have a boob job after the split up. Now, wait a minute. Hang on. Let me shut this door over here. Why in the world is your divorce lawyer paying for your boob job?
Because she was banging him too.
Right. I mean, people don't just do things for free like that. They don't just feel sorry for you like that. No, uh-uh. So then we keep going on down here. And Celeste then moved to Arizona. And she struggled, of course, to make ends meet. And then she got into trouble for burning a car she had reported stolen. Okay, so see, there she is. Her next thing, well, she needs some insurance money. So what's she gonna do? Well, I'll just set the car on fire. They'll never figure out it was me. But they did figure out it was her. She gets in trouble for that. She was convicted of insurance fraud and spent 3 months in jail. Okay. That was husband number three. Here we go. Husband number three was a Mexican American named Jimmy Martinez. Now, Celeste had a raunchy sense of humor, and it later came to light that she had a nickname for Martinez's Anyway, she called him BMW. For I'm not going to say that word. Anyway, you know what it is. Anyway, Celeste had she that marriage too went kaput. Of course it did, because Celeste found herself single again in Austin, Texas. All right, this is when she gets to Austin. Now she enters in her 30s and she's, barely making it. She's working as a waitress. And then she gets a job at the prestigious Austin Country Club. Now, I'm going to pull something up over here. Hang on a minute. Let me pull this up. That'll be going, oh my God, I want to be a member of that too. Right? Now, I have been over there, but it was for events with my husband because, he is a banker. Well, and they do like big commercial ones. Now, let me share the screen with you so I can show you what I'm looking at. It's beautiful, absolutely beautiful over there. Here we go. Let me pull this up. Share the screen. Okay. Look at this. We're going to watch this video for a moment. There it is. It's beautiful. It's a big old golf course. That is the elite of the elite. Go here. Anyway, it's beautiful. Makes me sad. I want to go there. All right. All right. So we'll go back to where we were. So anyway, let's get off of that. We'll go back to where we were. I don't want to watch that. It makes me jealous. Nah, not really. Yeah, really. Just joking. No, I'm not. Anyway, let's get back over to Celeste. So then Celeste gets this job over there, and it's a hard place to get a job. I mean, they only want pretty people to work there. Okay? So among her regular customers was Stephen and Elise Beard, both in their 60s with grown children. Now, this is where it starts going wrong. Elise was an avid golfer, while Stephen just preferred the club's indoor activities, such as seating, just drinking and sitting around. Well, Elise fell ill with cancer, but she went quickly. So she dies in October of 1993. Well, Stephen did not do well alone. I mean, he'd always had a wife. He didn't really know how to live alone, actually. Within weeks of the funeral, he needed a steady company. He wanted steady company, and he needed somebody to help keep the house clean because his wife wasn't there. Anyway, so he began pursuing a companionship with Celeste Johnson Bratcher, Wolf Martinez. Now that's a mouthful, isn't it? That's all her names. Celeste Johnson Bratcher, Wolf Martinez. They had their first date less than 3 weeks after Elise's death. That's pretty sad. To me, that's hard to understand. What do you mean 3 weeks later you went out on a date with a waitress from the country club that is 40 years younger than you? Hmm. That's yeah. Okay, you know what that was about. So then this is the next thing that happens. Um, let me get back on down here where I was. How did that happen? I kind of lost my place a little bit. Well, we'll get over here where we were. So he moves her in there. They go on their first date, and then Beard 68 treats Celeste, who's 30 years old, to a lavish Italian meal at Mamma Mia's restaurant in Austin. They enjoyed a nightcap at the mini mansion, and Stephen allowed Celeste to drive herself home in his $50,000 Lexus. Now, let's talk about this. This was back in what, 1993? That was a damned expensive car. Now we know that cars are those even cheaper cars are expensive now. For $50,000, what are you getting now, right? So this is when Celeste said to herself, this could work out nicely. So Beard courted Celeste just gave her a checkbook. For Christmas in 1993, so he gave Celeste a $16,000 diamond cocktail ring, a $3,000 wristwatch, and a new Ford Explorer. Now, he was buying her love. Absolutely, he's buying her love. What does it sound like? I always wonder in my mind, did he absolutely really think that she cared about him, or did he really know that she just liked what he was buying her? See, I always wonder about that. What did he think? What did he really know? All right. So the next thing that happens over here. Now I'm sure she was impressed. And again, $16,000 cocktail ring back in that time was expensive, right? So he also invited her to move in with him, and they began playing house on January the 1st of 1994. Okay. So in the beginning, Beard paid $20,000 restitution bill that she had hanging over her head. from the insurance fraud in Arizona, and he funded the custody battle over the twin girls with her first husband. And then, after 13 months of shacking up, Stephen agreed to make the relationship legitimate. They married after 13 months. But on February the 8th of 1995, he and Celeste signed a prenuptial agreement. She would get, now this is where it starts getting bad. She would get $500,000 and not a penny more if they divorced. If she became his widow, she would stand to get much, much more based on a written will. He redid the will. He was very generous, but he was no fool. I mean, you know, because nobody ever gave Stephen Beard a dime. He worked for it all. He was a true bootstrapper. He started that business on his own. He served in the Navy Air Force. He attended college at Texas Christian and Southern Methodist. He worked in radio and advertising in Dallas in the 1950s and 60s. And he started at the bottom, climbing his way up. All right. He switched to television in the 70s. And by 1981, he found his success and partnered with the general manager. He was the general manager of KBBO in Austin. Then in 1985, the station became the original affiliates of the fledgling Fox network. Now, this is where he comes into it. This is where he started getting his owning this. And so, after 1994, after his wife's death, he sold his share of that station for a small fortune, and it was millions of dollars that he sold his share for. Now, on February the 18th, they get married. Where do they get married? This is the beauty, it's Beauty and the Beast at the Austin Country Club. So right where she meets him, she has this dream wedding at the Austin Country Club, and I'm sure it was quite expensive. Then they go on a honeymoon. But now this is going to be graphic, so y'all just bear with me. But it just kind of goes with the whole story. I mean, their honeymoon involved a drug injection that was administered by Celeste. She found needles and medication uh, unromantic and traumatizing. But see, that is the only way he could enjoy his wedding night. Let's just say it that way. I'm trying to be nice here, not say anything gross. She would later say that the couple had just
Relations.
relations twice. And that was on the day she moved in with him and on the day they were married, but nothing after that. In the first months of the marriage, it just did not work for Beard because, Celeste just didn't want to deal with all that. So Beard gets desperate and he files for divorce just 4 months after the wedding. Now, he withdrew the petition for divorce after they come up with what's later called the SS solution. Um, I'm going to call it the OSS solution. Here we go. I don't want to say it's oral sex solution is what it was. So trigger warning. I'm so sorry. Now this was on Sunday mornings and Beard at the mini mansion. This is what it was reserved for. So only on Sunday mornings did she have anything to do with him. Well, I mean, he had to know that she was repulsed by him. And so it just comes back to this. How much did he think that she loved him, or what did he really think? Right? Well, if he was going to file for divorce, he had to know something was terribly wrong. Anyway, all right. So then, you know, um, Celeste kept saying, "Well, I just need to make some money." She would tell her daughters that anyone else with earshot that she needed to make some money, that she needed, she just didn't want to have she didn't want to have this service with him on Sunday morning. She didn't want to do that. She made certain there was no distractions, and she locked the doors and turned off the phones and all that. And she wanted Stephen to reach his happy ending as quickly as possible, according to an account by Susie Spencer's book. There is a book called The Fortune Hunter, and it's all about this particular murder. She loathed having to stop and begin again. Anyway, I don't want to talk about that. So, in The Fortune Hunter by Susie Spencer, once they worked out this problem, money became their primary source of conflict. Well, see, money, we all know that money is the source of everybody's conflicts in a marriage. People always say, well, no, it's not really money. Yeah, it is. That is it's usually money, kids, and then they lose interest in each other. That's usually what makes people fight. And from my experiences, that's what anyway, we'll keep going. The $500,000 of this prenuptial agreement was contentions for Celeste. She was upset about it. Now, one day, Mr. Beard decides, well, I'm just going to give her some money and get it over with so she'll shut up. And then she doesn't have to work, doesn't have to worry about it. Well, Maybe she'd spend less money if she had her own money, right? Well, that's just wrong. It's not true. This $500,000 was gone in 6 months. Okay. How do you spend a $500,000 in 6 months without buying a home or a car or something of value? I don't understand. I don't consider handbags and shoes something of value. I just don't, right? I mean, that's just things. Anyway, so after her spending binge, she became increasingly vocal about her distaste for her older, overweight husband. She was already sick of it. She began to refer to Mr. Beard as that fat bastard or that old fool. And this is her daughters and her friends telling people about this. People heard her say, why doesn't he just die already? Well, he's only 70 years old. By this time, he's maybe 71, 72. All right. Now, he began spending more and more time at their weekend house. Beard owned a house at the Pedernales River, which is 40 miles northwest of Austin, and it is beautiful there, right? She also rekindled old flame with Jimmy, Mr. BMX Martinez. Her daughters would reveal that Celeste often slipped out of the house when Stephen went to bed at 9:30. Sometimes they said that she would just hasten his bedtime by spiking his food or drinks with pulverized sleeping pills. Okay? Can you imagine? After the old man calmed out, she would just steal away to meet Mr. Martinez or party with her favorite drinking buddies at the beauty salon or, with her friend Donna Goodson. But Beard finally got wise. He confronted Celeste on New Year's Eve in 1999 about her out of control spending and that he knew she was seeing Mr. Martinez. He also talked about divorce again. Now, after 5 years of champagne and diamonds, Celeste could not fathom regressing back to her old, you know, car torching, plate carrying, being a waitress. She just couldn't live like that anymore. I mean, she had already spent her prenup at her nest egg already, so everything's gone. What do you mean? He threatened suicide, and he put her back at St. David's for her mental health treatment. Now, this is where she actually runs into Tracy Tarleton. Now, her daughter says that she was play acting to get what she wanted. This is what Christina says. What she wanted was money unencumbered by marriage to Beard. Now, at St. David's, she took this. She started thinking about it and planning it with Miss Tracy over here. Now, Tracy Tarleton, they were both at St. David's. Then they were transferred together to Timberlawn, which is a mental health facility in Dallas. Now, I don't know why they went to Dallas unless it was something to do with the how long you could stay at St. David's. I don't know if they had like a 30-day period or a 2-week period or whatever. But anyway, so they ended up both going to Timberline. Now you have to go to remember Tracy Charlton's family comes from money. She has money. Her family has money. So it was not money for Tracy that made her do this. It was strictly she wanted Celeste. So these women were caught in passionate love clutches at Timberline, and the staff there tried to keep them separated, but that didn't do any good, right? They just kept hooking up. Celeste was extremely flirtatious with me from the beginning. This is Tarleton telling CBS, and I responded. Eventually she came into my room and kissed me. She wanted to have this relationship with me. See, here's what I think happened. I think at that point, see, Celeste over here figured out, hey, I can use this chick. She'll do anything I want her to do. She's easy. Look at this. I know she wants me. So she played into it. Of course she did. That's what sociopaths do, right? So then, they had sex March the 20th of 1999, and this is when this physical relationship continued until October 1st. Now, that was the day before she shot Beard. So she shoots him on October the 2nd. The two were not discreet about their affair outside of the hospital, but they were inside because they would split them up at the hospital. Tracy wasn't secretive. This is Jeremy Ellis, who worked with Charlton at CBS. Everyone in the store knew she was dating someone named Celeste. She spoke about her like she was a girlfriend. They were sort of physical, close with each other. And he goes, "Well, I thought good for Tracy." Now, here's the thing: these people her friends did not know that Celeste was married to Mr. Beard. Now, if you lived in Westlake Hills and you knew Mr. Beard, then you knew who he was, and he had a lot of money. So Tarleton sent Celeste love letters, and Celeste sent Tarleton's birthday cards. And it would just say to the one I love. It would not say name, it just says to the one I love. And they became like, regular customers at the Austin Red Roof Inn. Now I'm going to talk to you about the Austin Red Roof Inn. This is nasty. Let me pull this up for you. It's no country club. It's ridiculous. I'm going to pull it up and let's show y'all what it looks like. It's horrible. Austin Red Roof Inn. Now, so she's going from her mini mansion over to this piece of shit. Let me show you the picture. Mhm. Let me share this. Let me share this screen for you. Going, oh my God, no, yeah, it's like the lowest of the low. Actually, it's like you don't really want to go there. All right, here we go. Let's see. Now, what is that doing there? It didn't say on the picture. Oh, there it is. Yeah, I can't get the date thing to go away, but yeah, I can. Hang on. Let me get this to go away so you can actually see this piece of crap. All right, come on. No, it won't let me do that. Okay, well, maybe. Let's see. Oh, there it is. Okay, so there is the red roof. Now, it did not look like this back then. Back then, it was really run down and shit, but then somebody else bought it and they fixed it up a little bit and put a pool in and all that. This is over in the part of South Austin over by the airport. This is not the good part of town, folks, okay? This is the $30 a day kind of a place back then. Really nasty. Okay, so we're going to go back over here. Let's share our screen so we can get back to where we were. This is just a fascinating story. It seems like it's the same as every other story, but it's really not because of these two people. It's like the switch role. Tarleton came for money. She didn't have any problem, but Celeste did not, right? So it's kind of weird. Anyway, so they were sending these love letters to each other, and it would just say to the one I love. Celeste apparently had to labor a suspect love. She had to pretend to love Tracy because she really didn't, and she was not really lesbian. Okay, but in July, the women had counseling sessions with Barbara Grant, an Austin psychotherapist, concerning their relationship. Now, Grant would later say that Celeste told her she doubted she was lesbian because she needed alcohol to help work up the nerve to have sex with Tarleton. Well, see, to me, it seems like she had to have alcohol to work up the nerve to have sex with anybody except Mr. Martinez, all right? Because she didn't even want to have it with her husband. So then Celeste's daughters caught the women in bed at least twice, and they began seeing books about lesbian sex around the house. Now, this is the house that Mr. Beard lived in. Her daughters were, she tries to explain that she pressed by her daughters to explain her behavior. Celeste says, Tracy's lesbian and she's in love with me. Isn't that funny? So my mother had acknowledged to me that she's involved in romantic relationships with Tracy Tarleton and that she and Tracy have had sexual relations together. This is Christina talking later in an affidavit. Tracy Tarleton has openly admitted to me that she and my mother are lovers. And in September of 1999, I witnessed Tracy and my mother kissing passionately. So, now listen to this. So did Stephen Beard. After witnessing the women kiss on the lips on September 29th, he ran Tarleton out of the house. Another therapist, Susan Milholland, revealed that Tarleton had a romantic problem of her own. That Milholland says that Tarleton told her she had a self-destructive habit of falling passionately in love with married heterosexual women. Now that's kind of sad for her, right? Now Tarleton dreamed of marrying Celeste, and she viewed Stephen Beard as just an obstacle to their happy ever after fantasy. Okay, y'all. Now listen. Here we are back in Fantasyland, just like Nick and Gypsy. See, don't I mean they such familiarities here. I mean, it wasn't about money for Nick and Gyp, I mean, because Gypsy just wanted to be free, but and Celeste just wanted to be free too, but she wanted to be free with the money. Okay. They just it's just so similar. Now, as the relationship developed, Celeste complained bitterly to Tarleton that Beard was abusive, that he belittled her, he taunted her, and beat her down emotionally. Now, this is Celeste. Of course, she's going to tell her that because she needs to tell her whatever she can tell her, just like Gypsy told Nick whatever she could to make him so upset that he would agree to kill for her. That's what she's doing right here. Okay. She added that she feared Beard would assault her if she threatened divorce. Now, I doubt that because Beard had threatened divorce a few times. The relationship left her feeling suicidal. This is what Celeste is telling Tracy. Now, Tarleton could not imagine life without Celeste, and she vowed to do anything she could to save her from this professed cruelty of Beard, just like Nick and Gypsy. Together, the women began plotting to do away Celeste's main problem, according to Tarleton. They came up with enough murder methods to flesh out the plots of a serious murder mystery novel. And there have been many, many books written about this story. They tried to concoct a homemade botulism by allowing food to spoil and then fester, and then she'd cooked it. The woman sprinkled the bile substance on a chili dog. Beard ate it, but guess what? It didn't kill him. They spiked his drinks with 190 proof grain alcohol, then fastened a plastic bag around his head when he passed out. It didn't kill him. They dusted his food with sleeping pills, and on one occasion, 10 ecstasy tablets. But he survived all of that. That's a tough old man, isn't it? It's not funny, but it kind of is funny, but it's not funny at all. Now, it became increasingly urgent in late September. Beard and his wife were scheduled to travel to Europe. Now, she didn't want to go to Europe with him. Celeste dreaded this trip, and she convinced Tarleton in her drama queen life that just her life hung in the balance. She could not go with him. She couldn't. She came over and was just hysterical, beside herself. This is what Tarleton told CBS. She said, "I'll never survive this trip. I wanted to help her." This is what Tarleton says. The woman came up with a shotgun solution. Now, Tarleton told the investigators that Celeste set it all up. Beard was asleep, the doors were open, and Celeste was in another wing of the house. I mean, 7,300 square feet is large. And that Tarleton slipped in, fired a single shot in the dark, and slipped out, and nobody noticed. Okay. This okay, when you're talking about fantasy lands, just like Nick and Gypsy fantasy here, of course you're not going to get away with this. You're never going to get away with this. How stupid to think you were going to get away with it. I can't believe they thought they were going to get away with this. You know? One of the reasons why they couldn't get away with it is because there was no shotguns in the house that Beard and Celeste were living in. And the only person that had a shotgun, of course, that they knew was Tracy, her lesbian lover. Now, Tarleton and Celeste managed to maintain regular phone contact for the first 9 months that Tarleton spent in jail. So Tarleton is over there in jail for 9 months, thinking that, oh boy, she's going to be able to, she saved her lover. She saved her lover, right? Okay. Then it became strained as Celeste grew increasingly she didn't want to sit around. She wasn't going to sit around and wait on her. She wasn't. Finally, in the summer of 2000, Tarleton and Celeste called off their relationship. So she gets dumped, right? And Celeste starts going bananas. This is Tarleton talking to CBS again. We're not going to do this anymore. You won't see me again. She's telling her no, you won't see me again. Well, Tarleton was distraught and apparently took an overdose of Valium, and she still refused to tell on Celeste. So she's over there attempting to take her own life, and she's still not telling the truth about what happened. She's still covering this murder. It's unbelievable. Now, Tarleton, here we go. That changed a few weeks after the breakup when she read in the newspaper about Celeste. It said she had married Cole Johnson on July the 3rd, 2000, just a few days of their breakup. So see, the whole time that Tarleton is in jail, she's over there starting her new life. She has no care about Tarleton. I'm sure she would talk to her every once in a while and just keep her strung along because, hell, she's in jail. They're not going to have a relationship. She's in jail. There's nothing she can do. So she won't even know what Celeste is up to. All right? This is what she thought. This is when Tarleton reached the conclusion that she had been used. She's off on her honeymoon in Aspen, she tells CBS. Even I couldn't overlook that. It was like everything started unraveling very quickly for me after this article. She said, I started realizing Celeste had been lying to me all along, and this man was not abusing her, that she had married him for his money, that she had been lying to me about our relationship. All of it was a farce. Tarleton sat down with prosecutors and detectives and told her story. Now, we're going to get back on Celeste Beard. What a crazy story, right? Why did it take so long for them to? Well, because she wasn't going to tell them. That's why. She just wasn't going to tell them. Okay, well, we'll keep going. So Celeste is finally arrested on March 28th of 2002 and charged with her former husband's murder. A judge set her bail at, get this, $8 million, noting that Celeste had earned $2 million after selling the house just months after Beard died. The woman's lawyer argued that she had just $7,289 left 1 year and 4 months later. I want y'all to think about this. She sold this house that was paid for $2 million. Was it over $2 million? Oh, for $2 million. and she only had $7,200 16 months later. What the hell? She has a spending problem. What was she buying? I mean, listen, if you're going to spend that kind of money, you might as well go buy another place to live. What are you doing? Are you just giving it to your boyfriend? What's going on here, right? Now, here's Donna Goodson. This is where Donna comes into this. Celeste's problems deepened a few months later, when she was indicted with another felony that was perhaps even more, that was worse than the murder. Authorities alleged that she had tried to hire her friend Donna Goodson to murder Tracy Charlton. See, it gets deeper. So she thought she'd gotten away with one murder. And so, what's the best way to get out of getting in trouble? Well, we'll just go ahead and take out the person who actually did the murder, and then there's no witnesses to say I did anything, right? Wrong. Because again, in the end, her own twin daughters actually do uh, testify against her. Sprinkled in this just wild. It is. It's like this love story that's gone crazy. Really, is what it seems like to
Yeah,
me.
it's crazy.
How do you spend that kind of money? Jeez.
God, what I'm surprised they didn't say like what she bought. She bought car. I mean, to spend that much money, you would have to be making some
I know. You're kind of fading out a little bit. You're
or
fading
just
out.
have to be spending
Okay, there you go. Yeah, I mean,
cars and yeah, I don't know. Can you hear
was she
me?
traveling all the time?
Yeah, you can. I mean, who like you said, maybe she was buying for the boyfriends or who knows, but that's just insane.
I mean, you're talking about out of $2 million, having $7,200 left in
Yeah,
16 months. How much
yeah,
money are you spending a damn month? Let's figure
yeah.
this out. You've
That's
got
just
$2 million
insane.
minus $7,200 divided by 14 months. I mean, 16 months. $124,550 a month. This is what she's spending monthly. Were they doing
I
drugs?
hope.
I mean, I wonder. That's something I don't know.
Yeah,
Now when Celeste's trial comes, it's like a nightmare of this is your life. She couldn't stand Steve Beard. This is prosecutor Allison Witzel is telling the jurors. She talked to people about how she hated him. He disgusted her. What happened here is a simple case of greedy, manipulative defendant who took advantage of a mentally ill woman who was in love with her. Sound familiar? Yeah, absolutely. Sounds just like Nick Godejohn and Gypsy Rose Manson Blanchard. Yes, yes, it does. Now, um, what happened? Okay, so she's talking about that. When she told Tracy that Steve was gone, they could be together. Now, Tracy really believed that. Tracy thought just like Nick. He, Tracy Tarleton lived for Celeste. She Celeste was everything to her, right? So Tarleton, appearing sullen, took the witness stand for a total of 15 hours over 3 days. Can you imagine 15 hours over 3 days testifying about every incident in this relationship? Mm. She guided those jurors through the affair and murder scheme. She had pled guilty and agreed to testify in exchange for just a 20-year sentence. Here's the weird thing about this. Now, Tarleton is already out of prison, but of course, the other one was not getting out of prison. Okay, so she goes, I just saw this woman that I loved in a desperate situation, just trying to find a way to survive this man that was so awful. This is Tarleton. She had a plan. She wanted me to shoot him at the Toro Canyon with my shotgun. I was willing to shoot him, and I went and did it. She added that she and Stephen Beard had been betrayed by the same woman. Yes, they had. Now, relatives, friends, shrinks, and Tarleton's colleagues from work testified that they believed the woman had a sexual relationship because they did. Prosecutors added photographs, love notes, cards, and Tarleton's journal as further documentary proof. Now, here's something weird. Dick Gagarin, which is Celeste's prominent, expensive criminal defense attorney, just dismissed all this evidence as part of a fantasy that Tarleton had. Said she was predatory and an aggressive lesbian. The defense strategy boiled down to 3 words: Tracy is crazy. Now, listen, is Tracy crazy or is Celeste crazy. Which one? This is a case of fatal attraction, he says. Tracy Charlton is psychotic. She's been diagnosed as having delusions and hearing voices that aren't there and seeing things that aren't there. During the pretrial deposition, Celeste had flatly denied so much as kissing Charlton. That statement was read to the jurors, who surely puzzled over the denial in the face of a contradictory testimony from a dozen eyewitnesses. That is that old that no, everybody's lying against me. Now, I will tell you this about a sociopath. You see, nothing is ever their fault. In a sociopath's mind, everything that happens is always somebody else's fault. They didn't do anything wrong. It's you, not them. But I mean, we know that for a fact. This even included Celeste's twin daughters, who had devastating corroborating testimony. Now, Celeste Beard, over 3 days on the witness stand, this young woman said it was mercenary marriage for their mother. This is one of the daughters. She said that she married Steve for his money. This is Jennifer. Christina added she would sometimes make comments like, why doesn't he just die already? She would say that he disgusted her. No detail was spared, including the Sabbath sexual get-togethers. They even talked about that in the trial. What was the Sunday? Anyway, asked the prosecutor Wetzel. It's Celeste giving Steve a blowjob, replied Jennifer. Okay, listen, trigger warning, I'm sorry, but this is just what it says. The daughter said that Celeste would rant about the Sunday suck. They ran off to see Tarleton and then run off to see Jimmy Martinez. Now, jurors heard Celeste's raunchy mouth firsthand during Mommy Dearest moments on a recording that daughter Christina made of one of their conversations. When the girl accused her mother of threatening suicide in February of 1999, get what you wanted, Celeste screamed. I was effing depressed, you GD little bitch. Now, bankers and accountants offered itemized details on Celeste's extravagant spending. They also detailed the prenuptial agreement and testified that Celeste stood to gain roughly $6.5 million from Beard's estate as a result of his death. Now, at the end of the testimony, Prosecutor Wetzel summed it up by saying, money is what this whole case is about. Now, here's what's weird about this. The jurors had to deliberate 23 hours over 3 days before voting to convict her. Now, I want to know why it was so hard. Because everything that we're reading here is all facts. And if you follow the facts and you follow the money, what do you find? She did this. She absolutely did this. Okay. So after 3 days, they voted to convict her. Prosecutors did not seek the death penalty, and the conviction brought a mandatory life sentence. She's never getting out, right? But Stephen Beard's loved ones were given the opportunity to address Celeste during a sentencing hearing. I hope you burn in hell, said Beard's namesake son, Stephen Beard III. Perhaps most punishing were the comments of Celeste's daughter, Christina. Now, this is Christina to her mother. You said we turned on you, Christina said. Well, you turned on us. You turned on the whole Beard family. He let you into his home. He loved you. He honored. He obeyed you. And you violated him and murdered him. Shame on you. Now, by Texas law, Celeste must serve at least 40 years in prison. She won't be eligible for parole until she's 80 years old. Now, let's talk about a little something that happens in prisons when somebody's that old. They don't normally let them have parole because the reason is they're 80 years old. Most of them don't have family anymore. And where are they going? Are they going to go to the nursing home? I mean, they don't normally grant parole at 80 years old. Okay, so that's just a little thing about that. Let's go back over here. Now, Tracy Charlton's profile. And so Trigger Woman Charlton could be free as early as 2009. She's out already. Celeste was denied the inheritance that she expected to receive. Beard's estate went to his blood children, as well as Christina and Jennifer, his adopted daughters. He was a kind man, but he adopted those daughters. He gave them a great life and included them in his will. Now, in the TV interviews, Celeste continues to deny any involvement. She said she was a victim of her daughters, whom she accused of being twisted and being motivated by the money. Okay, victim blaming. Another sociopath. I mean, God, every single trait fits Celeste. I hate to admit it, but the only reason why they could have turned on me was for the money, she told CBS. They have 2 million reasons to lie, so they each got $2 million, I guess. Celeste did receive more than $1 million from the sale of the property, which she said she was legally the co-owner. She really was not. He owned that property before he married her. So unless her name was on the warranty deed, then she was not entitled to that money. She paid much of that six-figure sum to her defense attorney until 2043. Okay, this is when they're saying she's eligible, I guess. Her shopping sprees will be limited to prison commissaries until 2043. Now, I wonder who's supporting her prison. Now, let's talk about all the different books and the articles and everything else. She Wanted It All, A True Story of Sex, Murder, and Texas Millionaire by Catherine Casey. Now, that is a book that was written in 2005. Then there's the book The Fortune Hunter, Marriage, Murder, and Madness. And this was in the heartland of Texas by Susie Spencer, and that was in 2005. Now, there's been all kinds of news articles. Marriage, Money, and Murder, The Mastermind and Millionaire Stephen Beard's Murder. His Much Younger Wife by Bill Hewitt, August of 2003. There's another one. After weeks of testimony, verdict in murder trial came down to one vote by Adrenia Ball. This was an Austin American Statesman, March 30th of 2003. Let me see if we can pull any of this. Hang on, let me get rid of this. I'm going to pull this up. I want to read the one from the Austin American Statesman. Let's see if we can pull it up. All right, here we go. Hang on, let's see if we can pull this up. Okay, Austin American Statesman. All right, the Celeste Beard story. Here we go. Let's see what it says. Okay. Okay, let me look and see what this says. Oh, how about this, guys? There's a new documentary that was put out on Okay, listen, I'm going to share this. We need to give credit to KYE, KYE, C-K-Y, it's UE, I believe, station. Let's give credit to them, and then we'll show a little bit of this. Now, under fair use, we have to stop and blah, blah, blah. Y'all know all that, but I just need to put it out there anyway. So there's that. Now, I'm going to share the screen over here, and we're going to look at this story. It's just fascinating, really. This is a new documentary about the Celeste Beard case. Here we go. I think I can, let's see. Okay, here's one on YouTube, and let's see. Let me pull this up, guys. Oh, God. Okay, we're going to have to go to YouTube and pull it up that way. It's on a crime podcast. Let's see. That's KY, share book. Okay, they called her the trophy wife, all right? They call her a trophy wife. Okay, I think it's this one right here. Hang on a minute, guys.
The guy who built my TV station was murdered. His wife was a prime suspect, but she says she was framed.
Of course I'm framed. And what better way? Just get rid of me. It's just all a big setup.
Celeste was getting money and security. Steve was getting a pretty girl on his own.
And yes, I was beautiful.
She did have an allowance, $15,000 a month, and then she would spend the $15,000 a month in like 1 or 2 days.
The money.
I mean, think about that, guys. How are you spending that kind of money in 1 or 2 days, and you're not even doing drugs or drinking? What the hell are you buying? I can't even imagine. So can you imagine the garage sale whenever she went to prison? What did they do with all that shit? Think about it. Somebody got some pretty good deals, I guess. I mean, it's fascinating, actually. Here we go. We'll keep listening.
Didn't satisfy her. The relationship didn't satisfy her. She wanted something more.
Okay, so where do we? Okay, now we'll get rid of that one. Come on down here. Let's see. Let's go over to. I'm going to take it. We're going to go over to YouTube, and we're going to look at this. There's one where they actually play the whole 911 call, and that's what I want y'all to hear because it's so sad when you listen to this guy tell the 911 operator, "Hey, I'm over here, basically bleeding out, blah blah blah." Anyway, let me get this pulled up for you. It's kind of interesting. Here we go. Okay, Celeste Beard. Celeste Beard and Gypsy Rose Mansion Blanchard, they're all the same, aren't they? All the same. Here we go. Let's see if we can find this one. Now, let's see. Now, listen to this. Here I am talking about this, and somebody else already talked about the Gold Digger. We'll talk about this one. This is from 6 years ago. This is called Gold Digger. And this is from True Crime Central. So here we go. Let me share the screen. Here we go. We'll share the screen for True Crime Central. I'm not going to play the one that was played today. I did not know somebody was playing one today. That's amazing. All right. Okay. We're going to give credit to True Crime Central. Hang on a second, guys, and we'll play this. Here we go. There we go. All right. Did I spell it right? I hope so. No, I did not spell it right. Now hide that one. Let's spell it right, guys. I need to do it right. True Crime Central. All right. Here we go. Did I spell it wrong again? No, we're good. Well, this looks a little weird, but that's okay because I want to play this. Here we go. Here we go, guys. Let me make this bigger. All right.
A waitress marries a millionaire for his money.
Now all of a sudden she's got a guy that's got $10 million, and she couldn't wait to spend every dime of it.
But even money can't satisfy her appetite for danger.
This is a case of fatal attraction. It's a case of obsession.
This is the first murder case I've ever written about where I have been afraid of the killer I was writing about.
Did you hear those words? The first case she's ever written about that she was afraid of the person she's writing about. That's pretty strong language, right? And here's the thing that, this is what shocks me about about all of these cases actually, is why in the hell, how does Ken sleep at night knowing that Gypsy can flip just like that and take his life or his daughter's life because they swear Aurora is real? Okay, if Aurora is real, that's fine. How do you go to sleep at night with her in the same room with you? Aren't you afraid? I mean, you could be sound asleep and look what she could do to you. Same thing she did to her mother. I don't even understand. I wouldn't even leave my child at home with her. She's so dangerous. And I get what this lady's saying. It's fucking dangerous. Oh, I'm sorry I said a bad word. Sorry, guys. Sorry.
A twisted Texas tale of greed, betrayal, and murder. Tonight on Power, Privilege, and Justice.
Hang on. Let's move past that if I don't want to watch commercials. We have to be careful with this because we don't want to get in trouble. Okay, here we go. Right there. I think we can start.
Horrible pain.
All right.
At 3:13 a.m., Steve called the police.
What's your emergency? 3900 Toro Canyon Road. Hurry. My gut just jumped out of my stomach.
Steve's wife.
Did you hear that? My intestines just fell out of my stomach. That's horrific. It's horrible. It's triggering. Here we go.
Celeste was asleep in another room.
Oh my God. No, she was not.
Okay, so how did this happen? Nothing. I've been sleeping. I didn't go. Okay, are you there by yourself? My wife is somewhere in the house. I can't find her.
Horrible.
I was the first officer to arrive on the scene. I went up to the front door of the house, began knocking, banging on the door, received no response from the house at all. Walked around through a small patio area and could see a large sliding glass door, and there was a light on inside.
No noise. I mean, I didn't hear any noise. I just remember.
Tell me how you did not hear any noise in that house. That house is not soundproof with all those damn windows. There's no way. Something about the stories don't make a lot of sense. Sprinkled, I don't know how do you feel about that? Them saying, oh, no, we didn't hear anything. We didn't hear anything. Just like when Jack really went missing, just like nobody heard Dee Dee screaming. Come on.
That's a big old lie. That's just a big lie.
I mean, the daughters, there's no way that, I don't know how anybody could sleep through a gunshot. I'll tell you a little story. Now, this is about our neighbor over here. This is about 6:30 in the morning. This happened a couple of years ago. And my husband said, hey, did you hear that gunshot? I'm like, what do you mean? No, I didn't hear that. But he was in the shower and it's on that side of the house. And then I noticed later on in the day, it was like 7:30 or 7:45 in the morning, there was a bunch of cars over there. And then I noticed that the coroner's car was over there. Now, when the coroner's car shows up, something horrible has happened. So I went out and asked the police officer, I said, are they all okay over there? And he goes, well, some of them are. I said, what do you mean by that? He goes, I really can't discuss this case with you, right? So later on, another cop was out there. I mean, this took many hours to get through this. And so I asked the lady cop, I said, and I'm not going to say their names, but I said, is the neighbor, the Mr. or which one of them is not with us anymore? I see the coroner's car. And she says, you'll have to speak to him about that. So right then I knew, when I put it together, what had happened next door. So, I mean, these houses are a little bit far apart. We live kind of on the side of the hill. And I mean, there's quite a bit of distance here, but my husband could still hear that gunshot. So I doubt that I know they heard noise because even in a 7,300 square foot house, you're going to hear a gunshot blast. Guns are loud, especially a shotgun. Here we go.
Lights flashing outside, and I have no clue what's going on.
Through that sliding glass door, I could see Stephen Beard laying in bed. It looked extremely bad. I broke the door with my baton.
We get into the back room, the master bedroom where my dad was, and there's already people in there working on him.
Beard's wife, Celeste, was in the main hallway. Her cries filled the house.
Celeste was screaming things like, "Don't let him die, what's going on, what happened, don't let him die."
A helicopter flew Steve to a nearby hospital. He was in critical condition.
Let me ask y'all something. Think about this now. She's in there screaming and carrying on, doing a very good job of being an actress. Really? Right? He could talk. He was able to talk to them. And he knew that she was sneaking around and stuff. What shocks me is, did he ever say to them, "I suspect my wife had this done"? Think about that for a second.
After about a minute or two in the room, myself and another officer discovered a shotgun shell. And at that time, everything changed. I declared the house a crime scene.
One of the police officers was asking me if my dad was suicidal. And I said, "No, why? Did somebody shoot him?" And they said, "Yes, don't tell your mother."
As the police tried to solve...
Let me ask you this, guys. Is your father suicidal? Now let's talk about a shotgun shell and a shotgun. Is your arm long enough to hold a shotgun and shoot yourself in the stomach? No, it is not. It is not. Here we go.
Who shot Stephen Beard, his family rushed to the hospital. One thing was clear: Beard's rags to riches story wasn't going to have a happy ending.
Steve Beard was born into a poor Dallas family. Always ambitious, he dreamed of becoming a doctor. Then World War II intervened and Steve joined the Navy. When he returned home, he took a job at a local department store. While working there, he met Elise Adams. Steve's job didn't pay much, but he was in love. In 1951, he and Elise married. They would raise 3 children.
Stop. Let's take a look at that picture. Look at that, their wedding picture. Aw, that's kind of a cute picture, really. He was kind of cute he was cute. Look at him. In his younger age, he was cute.
Together.
My mother grew up with my dad when he was working for $15 a week.
Oh, wow.
She went through those bad years when he was cutting his teeth and paying his dues.
Steve moved the family to Austin, where he got a low-level job in advertising. Smart and hardworking, he rose fast. By 1978, he was a top executive. But Steve was even more ambitious. He co-founded Austin's first independent television station.
Steve was a very, very hard worker. When he was getting the TV station off the ground, he was also still working his job in Fort Worth with Blair Advertising. He did this for years. He was very demanding.
KBVO was a big success, and Steve became a local media mogul.
You know what? I want to look up something real quick for you. I want to see if this. Look up something. Now, because Bebo is the for the football team, the Longhorns. Anyway, that is their big cow. Okay. I'm seeing if it's so KI, which is KEYE, CBS Austin is now what's called now. I guess it's still that, but okay. Anyway, I just want to see if they were still going. Here we go.
But in 1993, tragedy struck. His wife of 42 years, Elise, died of cancer.
42 years.
Steve decided to sell the station for $54 million. He was not...
$54 million. I want y'all to think about that. $54 million. Celeste is over there she can't wait to get her hands on that man. She knew the family because they came into the country club. She waited on them. You know, she was in their life already. She couldn't wait to get her hands on that money. Gold digger is exactly what she is.
Now a very rich and very
Damn.
single man.
We went on a trip to Europe, and some of the single women were just like vultures circling around a dead cow in the desert, you know. And he said, God, he said, I just wish I could just have some peace.
Steve began spending more time at the very exclusive Austin Country Club. There, a 32-year-old waitress, Celeste Martinez, caught his eye.
He says he hired a housekeeper, and that was Celeste.
Okay, look at his housekeeper. Does she look like housekeeper material? No, she does not. Here we go.
And then the next thing we know, his companion for the Super Bowl trip was his housekeeper. And I went, oh boy. I said, obviously she's not a housekeeper anymore.
My gosh, you have this attractive young 30-something girl coming after you. He's living in a huge house by himself. He's terribly lonely. He's retired. And now he has this beautiful young companion to travel with him, to enjoy good food and wine. Why not?
But Steve's new traveling companion brought along a lot of baggage. She'd been divorced 3 times and had a history of using drugs.
Oh, okay. Now that's interesting because here's the funny thing about all this. I did not watch this beforehand. You know, I like to find stories and kind of bring them to y'all. And I'm just like y'all, I don't know the whole story, but I'm going to find the whole story and we're going to find it out together. I did not know she had a drug history like this. Okay, this is new. All right, here we go.
Moving from town to town, Celeste had put her twin daughters into foster care many times.
Damn.
Now, she was ready to settle down with a man, a rich man.
My dad.
Okay, let me ask you a question. Help me out with this, Sprinkle. How do you just put your children in foster care? What do you mean you put your children in foster care? What does that mean?
Yeah, that sounds like she had them taken away from her several times. You can't just randomly say, hey, I don't want my kids right now. I'll pick them up in a couple years.
I know, that makes no sense at all. I put my kids in foster care. Huh, all right. You mean, see, I don't know why they said it like that, but.
Unless they put it in care family or something, you know.
Yeah, well, let's kind of look and see. Let's see. Where were the twins when Celeste met Steve? That's what I'm going to look up right now. Let's figure out where were they. If they were with her mother, I mean her father, her mother, somebody like that, I could understand that. But she's working his ways, blah, 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 blah. Okay, what does this say? Hang on a minute. Let me see if it'll tell us where she was, where the twins were. Hang on a second. Beard, I'm reading something, a story right here. Let's see. Their marriage through raised eyebrows, while Celeste now behind bars for her husband's murder. She did not shoot Beard. Okay, right. All right. So then blah, blah, blah. I'm trying to figure out where were these kids? I mean, if you say, oh, I just turned over my rights to my mother or my father or to their father, okay, that would be, but that's not foster care. See, that's family care. All right, let's keep going. That's wild.
Dad was his own man, and he was going to do what he wanted to do. He had always been in that director's role. I could have jumped off the University of Texas Tower with a banner that said, don't do it, and it wouldn't have made any difference.
On February 18, 1995, Steve Beard married Celeste Martinez. She was 32. He was 70. Under terms of their prenuptial agreement, Steve gave Celeste a cash gift of $500,000. She'd receive an additional $500,000 if they stayed married for 3 years.
Okay, wait a minute. So here's a new part of the story that we didn't hear a while ago. He gave her $500,000 when they got married, and then if they stayed married for 3 years, she got another $500,000. What the hell is she doing with all this money? This is wild. Oh my God. I wonder if they did any kind of inventory of every damn thing she owned before she went to prison so they could sell it all, you know. Because I wonder if she has restitution because she does owe those children. I'm going to find that out. Here we go.
Celeste immediately went on a shopping spree. spending her $500,000 in 6 months.
Wow.
Steve also adopted Celeste's twin daughters.
Okay, here
The
we go.
girls, Jennifer and Christina, moved to a new neighborhood in the
How pretty they
hills
were.
and to a new high school.
Oh, yeah.
They bought new
Now
clothes.
listen, Westlake High School is primo. That is where you want your kids to go. So yes, Celeste was ordered to pay restitution related to the murder of Stephen Beard, but the exact dollar amount is not widely published in open source summaries. So let's see, I'm trying to see if there's some place I can go get this information. She lost all claim to his estate. She's legally stripped of everything. She was ordered to pay court costs and restitution. And her daughters, Jennifer and Christina, received Stephen's estate instead. Good, they deserved it, right? Let's see, probate filing, sentencing. Okay, here we go. It doesn't say how much, but she was ordered to pay.
And made new friends. For the first time, they were living with their mother in a stable home.
We rarely lived with her at a young age. Christina and I lived in foster home for a good chunk of time. Thank God for Steve, and I consider him my second natural father.
He was loyal. He loved to hug you. He had a great sense of humor, really good wit, very generous, the perfect host.
Celeste probably thought she had won the lottery. A beautiful house, the country club, plenty of spending money. For some women, that was...
I feel sorry for those twins. I really do. I mean, just to hear them talk about they spent most of their time in foster care, I don't know how she got them back, though. That's very... Well, they had to spend a lot of money going to court to get those children back. What do you think, Sprinkle? How much do you think that cost him? Well, it cost him his life ultimately, but yeah, that's wild.
Well, didn't he say that he paid, when he said that he paid her restitution, that he paid for her to get custody of those kids?
He did. He paid $50,000 in restitution in Arizona, and he also paid for her to get custody of those kids. But it had to be a lot of money. I mean, if she was not in their life very often, he had to really prove by adopting them that he was not going to let her put them in, or them end up in foster care again.
Yeah,
now, I don't remember how old they were.
That cost him a good amount of money.
Oh yeah. She is a damn gold digger.
Would have been enough. Not Celeste.
After 3 years of marriage, Celeste's wild side reemerges. She begins leading a secret life, partying with many different men, including her ex-husband, Jimmy Martinez. Together, they host an 18th birthday party for her twin daughters. Steve is not even invited.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so Steve is their legal father. It's their 18th birthday, and he's not even invited to the party. Where was Mr. Beard? Was he at home sleeping? What the hell's going on here? That is god awful. How disrespectful can you get? She should be ashamed of herself all over the place, but that was a big snub to him after all he had done for her. And those girls loved him. They loved that man because he saved them. God dang.
She knew how to throw a party, like for the girls' 18th birthday party, for example. It cost close to $10,000.
Wow.
With the male strippers and open bar.
Oh my God. Who hires male strippers for your daughter's 18th birthday? That's kind of sick, don't you think, Sprinkle?
Yeah, I could see maybe your 21st birthday, but not your 18th birthday.
Hell no, that's so inappropriate. This chick she's messed up in the damn head. I'm shocked by that. I could never imagine a mother hiring strippers for an 18th birthday party for. Oh my God. You know what? Here's one thing. Go ahead.
If she was talking to them about having a sexual relationship with a girlfriend, that just shows how nasty she was.
Yeah, she was nasty. But in Westlake Hills, I can guarantee you those people look down on her like what a piece of shit white trash she is. I'm telling you. That place over there, yeah, I'm sure that was frowned on. Howie. Here we go. Amazingly. Those people are like, oh my God.
Wild and loved to party and unpredictable.
We'd never met an adult who was so open.
She would talk about how Steve was very old. He could not satisfy her sexually. And she would express how Jimmy did that very well.
Oh, wait a minute,
Celeste
wait
is
a
an
minute.
inappropriate person.
It's not that he couldn't, she didn't want to. She was not interested in him. She was not attracted to him at all. That was just her sugar daddy. She married her sugar daddy. Here we go. Nasty bitch.
100%. Everything she does is inappropriate. The way she raised Jen and I was inappropriate.
And the names she called Steve were just abominable. Big Daddy Warbucks, fat ass, and that's what he was to her.
Oh.
But he loved her so much, he put up with all of her crap.
Soon, Celeste began to spike Steve's drinks with Everclear, powerful grain alcohol. She also put sleeping pills in his food so she could go out at night and party.
It was very difficult to see what Celeste was doing to him. I just wish I would have stood up a lot sooner.
Finally, after learning
You know what? I feel really bad for those girls because in the end of it, when they saw what the actual ending was, and they knew that she was doing all this stuff and they never said anything, I wonder if they were so afraid they would end up back in foster care, or be kicked out or whatever. I mean, I don't think that Mr. Beard would have allowed her to kick those girls out. I just don't believe that. Poor thing. I really feel bad for them. I do. I mean, it's like they had a great
Well,
life.
they refer to her as Celeste. What does that say?
Yeah, they don't have any respect for her at all, and I don't blame them. I mean, they have to be so
They don't even call her mom.
Right. She took the only father they really had away from them. They finally felt at peace. They finally had stability, the ability to go to college and all the things that normal kids would do. And she took it all away.
Yeah.
Horrible. All right, here we go.
Celeste had run up $300,000 in entertainment and shopping expenses, Steve kicked her out of his house and threatened to divorce her.
He had already given her everything he'd promised, so she would get zero when they divorced. Yeah, they'd have to sell the houses. She'd get that. But she wanted to be a multimillionaire, not a millionaire.
Celeste sees her chance at a fortune going up in smoke, and she isn't going to let that happen. She writes Steve a letter using all her charm.
When you called this morning asking if we should just get divorced, it completely took me by surprise. I value everything that you have done for all of us. I love you with all of my heart.
The letter doesn't work. As Steve makes preparations for divorce, Celeste raises the stakes. She threatens to kill herself, holding a gun to her head in front of her daughter Christina.
Oh my God. You see the manipulation right there? She wasn't going to shoot herself. She was just using that to get back to him. And the weak point that he had was the two girls because he loved them. I think he loved those two girls. So by God, he wasn't going to let that happen. He couldn't let her. Wow, that's really pitiful. I mean, those poor daughters. I feel terrible. Just terrible. Mr. Beard was a really nice guy. I'm sure he was lonely, but damn, he put up with a lot. Here we go. Bad.
But the gun is not loaded.
I mean, oh gee, I get in trouble. Oh gee, I'm going to slit my wrist. Oh gee, I'm going to put a gun to my head. But ooh, I don't know how to load the gun. Give me a break.
She knew how to load
but
that
yet
gun.
This would work on Steve.
The people of that generation are still of the one wife type thing, not the throwaway marriage concept. And I think that might have had some bearing on him.
In the early spring of 1999, Steve checks Celeste into a psychiatric hospital. Timberlawn is exclusive. At $1,200 a day, only the very rich can afford it. Within a few days of arriving, Celeste meets a woman who will change her life forever, Tracy Tarleton.
Tracy Tarleton is bipolar and has been in and out of psychiatric wards for years. Tracy was severely abused by her mother, grew up in basically sort of an alcoholic, dysfunctional, very successful society Texas family.
Tracy had gone to the University of Texas and managed a bookstore in Austin. Tracy and Celeste seem to have little in common, but Tracy is immediately taken with Celeste.
Tracy has been desperately seeking love, probably since she was about 10 years old. And she finally found someone she thought loved her.
Now, see, and right there you feel sorry for Tracy because I believe that she really did believe that, just like Nick Gumjohn believed that Gypsy loved him. I mean, she did all the right things, she acted all the right way, she participated all the right way. $1,200 a day that you're paying cash for, $1,200 a day. That's expensive care. Huh. Damn.
A bond begins to grow between the two troubled women. After a month at Timberlawn, they're released but go on seeing each other. Celeste returns to the Beard Mansion in Toro Canyon. At first, Steve accepts Tracy as his wife's new companion. But it's obvious to the twins and their friends that Tracy and Celeste are having an affair.
We knew that they were more than friends. But you've got to remember that Celeste was having affairs with lots of people. I mean, every couple of weeks it'd be someone new.
It was obvious when they were together by the way they would touch each other and smile that it wasn't purely platonic.
The two women spend every day together. Tracy's obsession with Celeste seems to be growing.
Okay, we're going to stop for just a minute because, we have to prepare use. But anyway, I mean, if they all knew it, I wonder why Mr. Beard did not just put his foot down. I mean, and you're dragging that into his home. You're bringing these people into his home and doing this right in front of his face. It's unbelievable. Well, she has no morals. We know this. She has no morals. We've already figured that out. So, yeah, I guess.
You can see Tracy's behavior changing for Celeste just in the way she dressed. Wearing the pink shirts, getting manicures, getting her hair colored. Tracy has always been a little tomboy. Always.
The atmosphere at Toro Canyon is turning poisonous. To strengthen the bond between them, Celeste tells Tracy that Steve is abusing her. Meanwhile, Steve is increasingly concerned about the relationship and tries to discourage it, but Celeste ignores him. When the twins graduate high school, Celeste invites Tracy to the ceremony. Later that night, there's a graduation party at Jimmy Martinez's house. Once again, Steve is not invited.
That is bizarre.
Tracy gets drunk, and Jimmy and Celeste have to send her home when she starts getting too friendly with Celeste.
The story of Celeste, Tracy, and Steve was a train wreck waiting to happen. It seemed that everyone was, as they say, in denial. It was just a matter of time.
5 weeks later, that time arrives.
You know what? No, we're going to go back and we're talking about Gypsy Nick for just a second. Remember, Gypsy all of a sudden is telling Nick, you got to do it now, because I'm going to have to go have another procedure, which was completely a lie. Now, here's what I think really happened. Can you hear me okay? Sprinkle, can you hear me okay? Hello? Sprinkle. I think my earbud fell off. Hang on, guys, hang on. Whoops. Okay, we're connected. All right, Sprinkle, are you there? I guess you are. Anyway, I think because there was this information that was found over there on a table in that house about somebody's cancer diagnosis, I really do believe that Dee Dee had found out she had cancer, and Gypsy was like, hell no, I'm not taking care of her another 20 years. Nick, you got to come do it now. You got to come do it now. I can just see it. So, I mean, this makes perfect sense to me, what's going on here with these two. Here you go.
Hoping to separate the two women, Steve has decided to take Celeste away on a European vacation. He, Celeste, and Christina are home packing. Jennifer is out with her friends.
Celeste seemed especially odd that night. Every few minutes she would call us. Christopher and Jen and I were all discussing it, and we knew something wasn't right that night and that something was going to happen. We didn't know what it was.
At 3 o'clock in the morning, an intruder enters through the garden of 3900 Toro Canyon Road and continues past the pool area and toward the house.
That's a beautiful estate.
The intruder crosses the patio, opens the sliding glass door, and enters Steve's bedroom. Then, the intruder points a shotgun at Steve.
Did you see that closet with all that stuff? I mean, they just went back kind of fast, but shoes and purses down galore. I bet she's buying Louis Vuitton. How much you want to bet?
And fires.
What's your emergency? 3900 Toro Canyon Road. Hurry. My captain just jumped out of my stomach.
Good morning, so sorry.
Steve Beard is rushed to the hospital. Christina stays behind to break the news to her sister.
That was a tough phone call. I can remember Jen just immediately started crying. And there was lots of panic, lots of confusion, because we didn't have the whole story.
There was a good 20 minutes that all I knew was Steve was taken to the hospital and there was a lot of blood.
The intruder is long gone. Whoever has shot Steve Beard has made a mistake, as the police will soon discover a crucial piece of evidence has been left behind.
Mm-hmm. I mean, everybody knows you got to pick up your damn shells. You can't just leave them there. What's wrong with you? Come on now. Let me see if y'all can see. Let me see if y'all can see this. Hang on. No, I'll show it to you later. We'll keep watching this. Hang on.
After a life of hard work that had finally paid off in his golden years, Texas TV tycoon Steve Beard lay in the hospital. He had been shot in the stomach with a shotgun. At the hospital, Celeste and her children are tested for gunpowder on their hands and questioned by detectives.
The policeman just asked us, do you know anybody who had anything against Steve? Maybe a business partner, just someone who didn't like Steve. And we all knew, and I just said, Tracy Tarleton.
She was, I believe, obsessed with Celeste. You could tell. She wanted Steve gone.
During conversations with several of the individuals at the hospital, the name of Tracy Tarleton had come out. But they didn't want Miss Beard to know that they had told.
It's just a new addition.
While the family works on helping Steve recover, the police have Celeste's lover, Tracy Tarleton, in their sights. They go to Tracy's house to question her.
Miss Tarleton was asked if she owned a shotgun. She said yes. I asked if I could see it. She thought for a few minutes and she said, okay, you can see it. She gave us a Franchi 20-gauge shotgun. It had her name inscribed on.
Now that is a very expensive gun, all right, from Italy. And, they know exactly what kind of gun a bullet's going to, I mean, they can match it exactly to the gun. Now, how stupid of her to forget the damn shell, right? That was a big
the weapon itself. I interviewed her for probably an hour. According to her, she and Celeste had a lesbian affair.
The police test Tracy's skeet shooting gun and match it to the shotgun shell found at the crime scene. 6 days later, Tracy Tarleton is arrested for trying to kill Steve Beard. The story makes front-page headlines in Austin.
You'd think Celeste would have been distraught. The police arrest her friend for trying to murder her husband. Her husband is lying in the hospital with a giant hole in his stomach. So what does she do? She shops.
Of course.
She went out and bought an $80-something thousand piece of jewelry. She would check to see if her $10,000 monthly allowance was in the bank account. And if it was, boom, she was over to Lake Charles, Louisiana to gamble.
Despite everything.
Okay, wait a minute. Now we know what happened to this $670,000. She's a gambler. She's gambling big money. Guarantee on that. Now we know.
He claims to still love his wife. He changes his will to give her an even bigger share.
Damn.
But this will be his final gift to Celeste. After 4 months of recovery, Steve Beard's health takes a downward turn. On January 22nd,
Oh, that's sad. Sorry,
2000,
trigger warning.
he dies from an infection in his lungs.
Actually, I'm going to speed past that. I don't want to watch that part. Let's go past that. Sorry, guys. I don't really want to watch that part.
And puts her daughters to work.
She had clothes that she never wore. They just had the tags on them.
Look at that mess.
And they were 2, 3, 4 years old. And she made Jennifer and I load up one of the cars full of those clothes and take them back. She wanted cash, but they wouldn't give her cash. So they gave her a store credit of like 25 grand. It was incredible. It was just the most ridiculous thing that I'd ever seen in my entire life.
Talbot's wasn't the only store we did it to. You know, we did it to Dillard's and Foley's and the Container Store. That was very...
Okay. Talbot's is a very expensive brand, all right? Talbot, I mean, that is... Damn. She had good taste, didn't she?
embarrassed about that.
Damn.
But it was something that Celeste made us do, so we did it.
I just didn't think that she would make Christina do the different things that Christina had to do if she really loved her. She would just treat her not as a daughter, almost not really as a person, just as her assistant.
Called her Mommy Dearest. She never knew we called her that, though.
Celeste's money was running out, and so was her luck. She had manipulated her daughters and her late husband. But now she was about to get a taste of her own medicine.
All right, we'll go past that. Hang on a second, guys. There we go.
There'd been talk on the news that day that she had been involved in the murder, and she lost it. She asked us if we would all kill ourselves with her.
What?
And I thought, this woman is just completely nuts.
Then Celeste checked herself back into treatment. Had she finally realized how out of control she was?
Oh.
Apparently not.
You never know what she's going to do. You know, you don't know if she's going to stick a blow dryer in the bathtub in front of us or if she's going to try cutting herself with scissors, you know?
Think about these poor children. I mean, what she said is so scary. She treated us like we were just her secretaries or whatever. They were not even her. Well, she never treated them like they were her children because, you know what, she just put them in foster care, right? She never really cared to take care of them. But, you know, here's something I wonder about this case. Had she not married Mr. Beard, she would have never gotten those children back. She would have just left them where they were. She didn't want to take care of them, but he could take care of them. That's how it looks, doesn't it? Sprinkle, it's bad. This is just terrible.
Yeah, it's
how
horrible.
she treated them. I mean, these girls, I don't know. I don't blame them one bit for testifying. I'm so glad that they finally stood up and testified. I really am. This story is just getting bigger and bigger. Here we go. Damn.
Or jump out of a car, you know? I mean,
damn, it's bad.
She's very scary.
After a few weeks at Timberlawn, Celeste calls Christina to come and take her home. But Christina is scared and refuses to go.
I don't blame her.
She's being very mean to me, telling me if I don't come get her, I'm going to regret it.
But Christina's sister Jennifer does agree to pick up Celeste and takes along her boyfriend, Chris Deuce.
Damn.
Before the night is through, the twins will see their mother's darkest side, and nothing will ever be the same.
She gets in the elevator and says, "Come on, guys, let's go." So we have her luggage and we run into the car.
Celeste then calls Christina, who is back at the house. Christina secretly records the call on her answering machine.
Christina, what are you saying by deliberately disobeying me? Huh? What don't you know? Because I'm a worse person and my father molested me. You know what you don't
Okay. All right. Listen to the manipulation right there. And these children, remind you, they're over 18 years old. I mean, they're adults. They don't have to obey her ass. This is a monster. She is a monster. I hope she never gets out of prison. Oh my God. Here we go.
Did I do that cruel to you? No. Then why don't you say that I hurt you worse than my dad hurt me? Because you did.
All right, Gypsy Manson right there. Using the worst possible manipulation on that little girl right there. Talking about what happened to her as a child instead of what she did. I mean, this is such, what do they call that? Sprinkle, what's the word for that? When they, oh golly. We talk about this all the time.
Gaslighting?
Projection. Projection.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Horrible. I wonder what her actual diagnosis is. I'm going to look that up while we watch this play. Here we go. Damn.
The phone conversation ended, and she was just livid. And that's when she said, I could kill Christina. And I looked in the rearview mirror because Jennifer was in the back seat. And we knew then it was time to leave.
We knew we were never going back. You know, there wasn't enough locks on the door, you know, for the two of us to feel safe after that car ride.
After Celeste's tirade and threats,
You know, I don't blame those girls. I would have left too. Absolutely. Well, you know, let me see. Here's what her diagnosis actually is from expert testimony. Let's see. Grandiosity, entitled, lacking empathy, highly image focused, and obsessed with wealth and status. My God, what is that? Sociopath,
Oh, wow.
right there. With suicidal ideation and self-harm history. Oh, and here we go. Munchausen style attention seeking, not the formal diagnosis, but they're saying Munchausen style attention seeking. Wow. I'm not shocked by that, are you?
No, not at all.
She is a dangerous individual. Here we go, guys. Damn.
Jennifer and her friends are convinced that her mother is behind Steve's death. But Christina still doesn't believe it.
She was the one that was really manipulated by her mother. And
scared.
She's the one that loved her mother. I think it was a hard decision for her because she didn't really know what to believe.
I knew that I couldn't stand up to Celeste my whole entire life. I was trying to grow a backbone against her, just to be my own self, because it's just like, who is Christina without Celeste?
Can you imagine that devastation of this mom who you want to love you and take care of you and caress you and comfort you and be there at your wedding, and she's out threatening people?
There were a whole chain of events that were really scary in that time frame.
The next day, Christina gets another call from her mother, which she also records.
Thank God.
What are you so frightened of? You think you know me, but you don't.
Yes, she does.
I hired somebody.
Ooh, you hear that? I hired somebody to kill Tracy. Okay, well, Mom, let me ask you this. Why do you need to hire somebody to kill Tracy? What does Tracy know that she's going to tell that causes you grief? What is it? See, they knew right then that their mother was behind Mr. Beard's death. Because why would she need to hire somebody to kill Tracy? What a dumb bitch. Here we go. Wow. This is really horrific.
That was my turning point.
We were scared to death. We thought she'd kill the girls.
Of course you thought that.
And maybe all four of us. We didn't know. I mean, it was very real.
This
is the first murder case I've ever written about where I have been afraid of the killer I was writing about. She's vindictive. She
Mm-hmm.
had her husband shot. Then she tries to hire someone to kill Tracy. The kids are afraid. No one is revealing where they live, their phone numbers, any contact information. There are so many people out there who are afraid of Celeste Beard and what she will do.
Now, with Christina on board, the girls and their friends go to the prosecutor with tapes, letters, and their suspicions.
Thank God.
I don't think she ever thought we would turn on her. And that was a large gamble on her part.
Celeste had manipulated everyone around her for a long time. But now she had her daughters and the state of Texas on her tail. Her days were numbered.
The prosecutors ratchet up the pressure on Tracy.
Look at Tracy. Let's look at Tracy for a second. Look at her. You can tell she's a woman scorned. You know, a woman scorned by another woman. Think about that little statement. Weird, right? How does it go? Hell has no fury like a woman scorned. Yeeks. Here we go. It's not funny, but I just thought I had to say that. I mean,
And
it's so
2 days before her trial is to start, she strikes a deal.
Mm.
She agrees to testify against her former lover.
I asked someone, why did Tracy finally turn, thinking, oh, it's because she's about to go to prison and facing possibly the death penalty of life at best? And they said because she finally realized that Celeste didn't love her.
On March 28, 2002, Celeste Beard is arrested and indicted on a capital murder charge. The evidence is against her, but Celeste has two things in her favor: her ability to manipulate the people in her life and her dead husband's money. In early 2003, the eyes of Austin, Texas are on one place: the courthouse where Celeste Beard is about to go on trial for the murder of her husband, Steve.
Celeste told people that she couldn't wait for him to die, and the evidence will show that she did not wait.
Celeste's lawyer, Dick DeGuerin, is famous for his high-profile clients like Robert Durst and the Branch Davidians.
Ooh, how about that? Robert Durst and the Branch Davidians. You know who Robert Durst is, right? Springfield. Almost called you by your name.
He's an actor. He's an actor, right?
Robert Durst. Remember, he had a wife that's dead, and of course they couldn't figure it out.
Oh yeah, yeah,
That
yeah.
his wife's name was Kathy Durst, and she disappeared in 1982. Then there was
Yeah.
another thing that happened: the murder of his friend Susan Berman in 2000, and then the dismemberment of Boris Black in 2001. So now, you know, he is a part of every one of these. It's called the Jinx is the name of the movie, and it was a hot Mike's confession that got him caught. So he was convicted in 2021 for the murder of Susan Berman. He was sentenced to life without parole, and he died in prison in 2022 at the age of 78. Imagine
Wow.
going to trial in 2021. He goes to trial, and he dies in 2022. Wow.
Wow.
Dick DeGuerin is a homegrown Texan with a great track record and an expensive price tag. But Celeste could afford it. She had access to Steve Beard's fortune. She was spending his money to defend herself from charges that she caused his death.
Wow.
This is a case of fatal attraction. It's a case of obsession.
The prosecution was claiming that Celeste had manipulated her lover, Tracy Tarleton, into the murder. But DeGuerin said that Tracy shot Steve for her own motives.
Unencouraged, undirected, uncommanded, on her own, Tracy Tarleton entered Stephen Beard's bedroom with a 20-gauge shotgun loaded with birdshot.
Bankrolled by Steve's fortune, Celeste's lawyers spent $500,000 trying to defend her. An astounding 45 expert witnesses are called
Oh
to
my
testify about everything.
45 expert witnesses. How long did this trial last? Let's see how long this trial lasted. Okay, hang on. That's a lot of expert witnesses. Hang on a minute, guys. Let's see how long this trial lasted. Okay, so they had 45 expert witnesses. Let's see. The prosecution's case was 2.5 weeks. The defense case was 1 week. This is a 3-week case.
Wow.
3 weeks?
That doesn't seem right.
I mean, she had 45 expert witnesses. Oh, but that's on the defense side, right? Let me see something. How many experts did they have? Let's look and see.
That
On the
doesn't seem right.
prosecution. Doesn't seem like enough time for all that, does it? How many experts did they have? Let's see. They had medical experts, a forensic ballistics expert, a reconstruction expert, a financial expert, a behavioral expert, a digital phone expert, so there must have been some phone records, and 6 to 8 depending on, okay, so they had 8, looks like they had 8 expert witnesses on the prosecution side. Damn, that's a lot, absolutely a lot. Shit, man.
From finance to mental health.
Bipolar disorder that was sometimes of psychotic proportions.
But the most powerful impression is made by Celeste herself, who enters the courtroom to gasps of surprise, dressed conservatively with a cast on her leg, which she never explains.
Heck, when I looked over, I thought she was one of the attorneys. When you visualize somebody that you think is going to be convicted of this type of crime, you don't necessarily visualize a middle-aged woman. It just didn't seem to fit.
She is charming. That's how she ropes everybody in. She has this sweet little lisp. She has a soft touch, very prim, with her arms under the table. But if you'll notice, as trial goes on, she's not sitting as primly every day. This woman has temper like that.
Although Celeste does not take the stand herself, the prosecutors play a taped deposition to attack her credibility.
Did you ever have any romantic involvement with Tracy Thompson? Did you have any kind of...
Liar, liar, pants are on fire. You were caught red-handed even by your husband and your daughters. Damn, she likes to lie.
Physical relationship with Tracy Thompson? What was the reason that you had a communication with Tracy Thompson and made the tournament for Richie's house?
Because I had lost my entire family in less than 6 months.
Did you ask her if she shot Steve Beard?
No.
But when Tracy Tarleton takes the stand, she has a very different story to tell.
Look at
Did there ever develop...
You know what? She looks quite different without that bleach blonde hair, doesn't she? Not so cute, is she? Damn.
any kind of relationship between y'all that was more than just a platonic friendship?
Yes, I did. She followed me into my room one day and we ended up kissing.
Did it ever progress to orgasm?
Yes. Our relationship we felt like it was serious. I felt like...
Did you see what she said under her breath? Oh my God. She said, oh my God, under her breath. Did y'all see that? Uh-oh. She knows she's in trouble here. She's going to get
I loved her, and I believed that she loved me. She spent a lot of time letting me know that she did.
Tracy shocks the courtroom when she testifies that Celeste tried to kill Steve many times.
He drank vodka, but she would pour out the vodka and pour in Everclear. She also would crush up sleeping pills and put them in his drinks. She said that, sooner or later, he's going to kill him. She had asked me to order a book for her called The Poisoner's Handbook because she wanted to cook up a batch of botulism and poison him with it.
We really de-emphasized Tracy's testimony. Especially the botulism really defied credibility. My thinking was, this lady is telling a whopper.
Then the prosecution goes to the heart of its case, how Celeste manipulated Tracy into murdering Steve.
What did you say about her suggestion that she shoot Steve Beard?
I said, I don't want to do this. She said, there's nothing left. I might as well just take it right now and shoot myself. And I said, fine, let's go. I'll do it. I thought about her.
That, you know what, that is the biggest manipulation right there. I might as well just shoot myself. I mean, good God. I almost feel sorry for Tracy, but she murdered the man. You know what I mean? She is the one that actually shot the man. I mean, he didn't die from the gunshot, but I almost feel sorry for her. She's kind of like Nick Godejohn. She's kind of like so in love, and this is her whole world is this Celeste Beard. What am I going to do? She's going to take her own
Yeah.
life if I don't help her. I mean, I almost feel sorry for her. God, I'm surprised I'm saying it, but I'm
all
admitting
the
it.
torment and terror that I thought she'd been experiencing all these months. And so by the time I got to the bedroom, I couldn't stop and I couldn't look and I couldn't do anything but pull the trigger and
Show us how you shot.
I walked in.
Okay, I want y'all to look at something.
So
Hang
I
on.
pulled up and
Now, do you see the size of that shotgun right there? Now, imagine somebody's arms. There is no way you could hold that shotgun out and shoot yourself with it in the stomach. No freaking way.
Yeah.
Maybe with your toe, but not with your hands. There's no way. You know, get that Letitia Stouch talon toe up there.
Yeah,
Oh my
right.
God. Yeah, you know what I always call her? I always call her
Talon
Letitia. I
toes.
always talon toe. That's right. It's 2 Chainz talon toe.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Tracy's mentally ill. Tracy has a drug and alcohol problem. Tracy, again, if you go back and look at her background of the abuse, she is just a perfect target to be set up.
I started feeling a kindredness with Steve Beard. We had both been used by the same woman to get his money.
The real reason you're testifying is because you got a sweetheart deal, 20 years, of which you'll probably only have to serve 10. Isn't that right?
That's not the primary reason I'm testifying.
Despite the gravity of the charges, a circus-like atmosphere prevails, with nearly
Oh my gosh.
500 exhibits, hundreds of objections, and over 100 witnesses. The trial does not, for most spectators, evoke the majesty of the law.
I didn't go in expecting to see, To Kill a Mockingbird or 12 Angry Men or Chicago. So when it turned out to really be a big show, I was kind of surprised.
Celeste's attorney defends her by attacking her daughters, accusing them of gold digging.
And you didn't like
These poor girls. They've already been used, manipulated mentally, emotionally by their mother, and now you've got this defense attorney over there blaming them for why this all happened. How are they gold diggers? They're absolutely not. They didn't hire Tracy. Oh God, the defense attorney should be ashamed of himself for doing that to these 2 girls. You know, I wonder what kind of mental health problems they have today because of all of this, being exposed to all of this. It's horrific. Horrific.
Steve, did you?
That's not true.
Steve didn't like you either, did
He did too, like me.
he? Did
Love
you
her.
contact a lawyer about becoming your mom's guardian, taking over completely?
That's correct.
You're planning, if your mom gets convicted, to file another lawsuit so you can get your share of Steve's estate.
No.
You bought a Jeep.
Correct.
You had a Cadillac and your sister had a Cadillac, but you bought a Jeep too.
Correct. I mean, I just can't imagine how they think 19-year-old kids, I mean, we were kids at 19.
19 years old. 19 years old. And they went through all, in the short period of time they actually lived with her, went through all of this. I damn sure feel sorry for those 2 girls. And so what? I mean, it's none of his business if she bought a Jeep. She had her own money out of the situation, you know? There was a will after all. Hello. Shit
Could
asses.
even cook up a scheme like they were trying to make us out to be. It just seemed like DeGuerin was just making up all this bogus evidence. I knew they were going to do that, but
Of course they were.
It still made me angry.
It's inaccurate, it's unfair, and let's face it, if Dick DeGuerin were being paid $500,000 by the children, he would be calling Celeste Beard evil and not the children.
Then the prosecution plays the tape Christina made of her mother's murderous rage.
Oh, look at her.
When you list,
Baby. Oh, she's shaking her head. No, no. It's your own voice. You told on yourself right there. You know, I guess she thought that she could just, those girls would ever, never, ever record anything that she had to say. I'm so glad they did because you know what? I am afraid, had they not had these recordings, that this bitch would have gotten away with this. That they would have just convicted Tracy and that was it. That's what I think. What do you think, Sprinkle?
Oh
I
yeah,
know
I
it's getting
agree.
late. Yeah.
It's
I
it's
mean,
it's a yeah, it's a good thing that they did record it because that was definitely a he said she said type situation. But then again, they did have a lot of witnesses that witnessed the relationship between the two. So
hmm
I think it would have been very obvious that they were in a relationship.
well, I mean, just because you're in a relationship doesn't mean that you told somebody to kill your spouse. I mean, they could have pulled it. I just think had the
No,
girls not recorded that, you know, Celeste would have said, "Well, she
but
just did it because
but
she
they
wanted me." Yeah. So,
yeah, but
I don't know.
they have tapes of her telling Tracy and telling everybody how much she hated him and he was
hmm
fat and he was gross and she didn't like him. There was a lot of, other things going on that she had said that people had witnessed that I think still would have taken her down. But there was a slim possibility that she could have gotten away with it because he was a damn good attorney. He was a
Yeah.
douchebag, but he was a hell of
Right.
a defense attorney.
Right. This is. I'm so glad
To what was
they stood
on
up for
those
themselves.
tapes. You just get the raw, uncensored
hmm
look into her soul. And
What soul?
I didn't like what I saw. Now, I'd like to add that we made a conscious attempt not to be trying her for being a bad person, but trying her for the crime of capital murder.
I wouldn't select her to be my friend. However, that doesn't make her guilty of murder.
Nearly all the
Right.
evidence was circumstantial. The twins did stand to gain financially if Celeste were convicted, and Tracy was by no means the perfect witness. It was clear that this wasn't going to be the slam dunk prosecutors were hoping for.
When you're rich, like Celeste Beard, you can buy a lot of things. You can buy a lot of friends, you can buy a lot of lawyers, and you can buy a lot of witnesses. Folks, if you say that Celeste Beard is not guilty with all of this evidence, then you're going to tell her that her money can't buy anything.
This soap opera that we went through for 4 weeks.
Oh, wait a minute. Okay, listen. He just said the trial was 4 weeks, so the timeline over here is incorrect. I'm so glad it's been corrected right here. 4 weeks. That makes a lot more sense than 3 weeks with
Oh
45
yeah.
experts. Damn.
Does not prove Celeste is a killer or wanted her husband dead or did anything to do it. The only evidence they have is Tracy Tarleton, and Tracy Tarleton can't be believed. She can't be believed because she has such a stake in it, but not only because of that, but because she's a crazy woman. Celeste is not guilty.
All rise, please.
After 4 weeks of trial and 23 hours of deliberation, the jury in the Celeste Beard murder trial reaches a verdict.
Before we bring the jury out, if there is anyone in the courtroom who feels that they may have an emotional outburst, I would ask that you please leave the courtroom at this time. Ms. Johnson, would you please stand?
You know what, though? Here's the thing. I don't think anybody's going to have an emotional outburst except for the defendant because these other people, they already know what she is and how, and that they are afraid of her. So they're going to be glad that this happened. Here we go. Let's listen. Damn.
Truly, we've been waiting for this for 3 years now.
3 years.
And so, yeah, it's very emotional, and you can't really know what 12 people that you've never met, what they're going to do.
Madam Foreperson, please read the entire form.
The State versus Celeste Beard Johnson. Verdict of the jury. Verdict Form 1, capital murder. We, the jury, find the defendant, Celeste Beard Johnson, guilty of the offense of capital murder.
Aw.
Thank you, Madam Foreperson.
You know what? I hope those are tears of joy and not tears of pain. After everything they went through, those girls deserve to feel at peace and go to sleep at night knowing they are safe. That she's not going to come and do to them what she did to that husband or their father, the person they considered as to be their father. Just disgusting.
Well, I had a flood of emotions. I wasn't expecting to get so worked up.
Yeah.
But it was a lose-lose situation for us. I mean, she is our mom, and it's just like she's going to jail for the rest of her life. For me, it was mostly relief that those 12 jurors believed what we all had to say. There was a little bit of sadness too, because yet there's still moments where I feel bad for her that I failed her.
Oh,
Oh,
honey, you did not fail her. Did you hear that? Sprinkle, did you hear
that
what she
breaks my
said?
heart.
It breaks
That
my
breaks
heart.
my heart.
She didn't fail her mother. Her mother failed her. But she's been so manipulated, she can't even see it. I'm sure by now that they've had a lot of mental health help, thank God, you know. I also wonder, though, I wonder how the three original Beard children interact with their two adopted twin sisters. You know, I wonder if because of their mother being the person that took their father's life, I wonder if they all get
Right.
along okay. That's kind of a, I don't think there's any way for us to find that out. But we'll go ahead and finish watching this because this is almost over. Here we go.
Celeste Beard is sentenced to 2 consecutive 4-year prison
Thank God.
terms and a $10,000 fine.
Only
We
10?
believe sincerely in Celeste's innocence.
Mr. Beard, how do you feel?
No
It's sad to
way.
have to say it, but I have to thank Tracy Tarleton, too.
Oh, wow.
She shot my father, but without her, we wouldn't have gotten to here.
Celeste only did everything for her own good, her own gain. Not gain in the heart, not gain in the soul, only gain in the outer, the financial. I had someone say to me one time, so doesn't have a soul, and my mother corrected me, said, oh, everyone has a soul. With Celeste Beard, it's hard to find that soul.
Thank you. I don't think she has a soul.
The twins maintain that the case has never been about money, but about justice and about ending a chapter in their lives full of fear.
Oh, a cute baby doll.
In Texas, after the verdict, the relatives of the victim are allowed to address the guilty party.
Ooh.
Christina takes...
Okay, hang on. Before we listen to her, you know, give her victim's impact statement, we're going to take a little break here and do our fair use and all that because I don't want to stop it in the middle of her victim's impact statement. But I hope I hear from her. You manipulated me. You made me feel like shit. You took my childhood away from me because that's what happened to this set of twins. Really. I mean, damn. All right, here we go.
the stand and looks her mother in the eye.
Thank God.
What did I ever do to you except love you? And this is how you treated us, like trash.
Exactly.
You say we turned on you? Well, you turned on us. You turned on the whole Beard family. He let you into his home, loved you, honored, obeyed you, and you violated him and murdered him. You are guilty.
Ooh.
Shame on you.
You know what? Give that daughter a hand. That was beautiful. Absolutely.
Good for her.
Yeah, let's give them an applause. Absolutely. I'm so glad she said that.
And it doesn't phase her one bit.
She's just looking, I mean, that is the look of it. If I could jump off of this chair and hit you, I would. That's exactly the look she's giving her. She's an evil bitch. Here we go. I hope the other daughter does too. What's she saying there?
Celeste will be 80 before she is eligible for parole. She still denies being involved in Steve's death, and she has not forgiven her daughters. Now, Celeste makes a last desperate bid for Steve's money. She sends the trustees of his estate a letter demanding that her monthly income of $12,000 be reinstated and that $500,000 be released for her appeal. Her request is denied.
Thank God it was denied. You know who that sounds like? Old Boone over there, who thought that she should still get to collect that money from her ex-husband, but you know, because her monthly allowance for jail, because she needed all of that for her commissary account. Here's the thing: when you're in jail like that, you are if you're on Social Security or some kind of monthly payment like that, you're no longer entitled to it. You know why? Because the state's taking care of you, so you don't need that money. Now, if they get any of that money, the state takes that money because, number one, they charge these people to take care of them every day, and they should. They absolutely should. Remember what happened to Letitia Stouch? She thought she was going to get that. It was either $3,000 or $6,000, something like that. And she ended up with like $300 of it or something, some small amount, because the state took what she owed to them. Thank you. I'm so glad they did. Let's finish up, guys.
She was toast. She was gone. And she knew that, because she knew that if he ever recovered, her gravy train was about to run out of gravy because it wasn't going to be there for very long.
Had I been able to find the strength to call her hand just one time and tell Steve, he could be here today. And that's difficult.
I think this is a great story about Texas, Austin, in fact, the United States in the 1990s. The narcissism, the immediate gratification, and that's what happened to Celeste. She found her venture capital, she blew it, she's crashing.
Celeste's powers of persuasion and her well-funded
Okay. I'm going to stop it right there. Okay, we're just because he's just going to give a little speech there at the end. But so we're going to turn that off and let's talk for just a minute. So that's the story, and it is horrible. I feel so bad for those daughters. I'm so glad she was able to stand up. But that's just one person of how many out there that absolutely do these things every single day. There is somebody murdered every single day for money. Period. I mean, it's just over and over, and it's just really sad. It really is. I mean, look, and that poor boy. I mean, was it Degussy was his name, or what was that child's name? Saying that he wished he could have talked to Mr. Beard and told him what happened. He thinks he would have still been here alive. He has guilt because he didn't go to Mr. Beard and say anything. But it wouldn't have mattered who said what. Mr. Beard married her against his son's advice, telling him, no, don't do it, don't do it. He did it anyway. So it wouldn't have mattered what anybody said. He would not have believed them. It's really sad. It's really sad. So that is what I wanted to talk about today. It's a Texas case. It's heartbreaking. And I just hope that the girls and his original children are, well, they're all Beards now, but I hope they all get along. I hope they don't shun those twins because of who their mother is, because we don't get to pick our parents,
We should see if we could do a deep dive and see where the kids and the family is now.
Yeah, I'll see if I can find anything on them. I mean, I'm pretty sure they don't want to relive this every single day of their life, and I don't blame them. But
oh God, no.
She absolutely is a monster. But if you go out and you watch some of these shows that she's in, there's a lot of different shows and books, etc. She, till this day, will still sit there in her narcissistic, damn sociopathic head and say, I'm innocent. I didn't do anything. She did all of it. No, she still lies, still lies, still lies.
Yeah,
she's like all the rest of them. They will never admit to what they actually did. They can't. They can't. Which is crazy, but they're crazy. That's what we know anyway. So thank you for coming in tonight. I know that you have to. Are you off tomorrow? Are you working tomorrow?
I have to go in for a few hours in the morning.
Okay, all right then. Yeah. That's fine. Well, there's something I want to do tomorrow, but I'm going to change the time because, you know who PNW is? That she talks about Little Monkey Bond's case all the time.
Yes.
There's going to be a show tomorrow at 2:00. I had scheduled my thing for 2:00 tomorrow, but I'm going to change it because I want to go listen to what's going on with his case because Stacey Wonder is going to trial real soon. They're filing a bunch of different.
He had something in court just the other day, if I'm not mistaken.
He did, and they talked about it. Brandy Bond even came on and talked about it for a little bit. So now what's happening is his attorneys are trying to push this back and push this back and push this back to avoid going to trial. See, but it doesn't matter how long they push it back. He will go to trial. He will be convicted, just like all the rest of them. All 4 of those pieces of shits will be in prison. I can only hope and pray that at some point they actually tell this family where is that baby's body.
I know that baby needs to be found.
Yeah.
He needs to be found.
Just like Emmanuel Haro, he needs to be found. Just like Jack and Lily, they need to be found. Just like Summer Wells, she needs to be found. Just like
Yeah,
Sebastian
absolutely.
Rogers, he needs to be found.
Mm-hmm.
Just like
Just like
Devlin Tate,
Devlin.
he needs to be found.
Yep.
Right, all of them. Because I absolutely believe every one of these cases are solvable. Every single one of them. But I think it's just a matter of time. I don't know if these law enforcement are just waiting till they find this last piece of evidence, which meaning the children themselves in whatever condition they are, or if there's something else holding it up. But I think every single one of those cases is solvable anyway. So with that, we're going to say, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. Just let me know when you get
Okay.
off of work, and we'll reschedule
Yeah,
all that and get it worked out.
I should be home by like noon, 12:30.
Okay, noon, which is like 2:30 my time. I
Yeah.
think so. All right then. Just let me know when you get home. We'll reschedule everything, and we'll just get on to it. But anyway, so we're going to call it a night.
Okay.
It is 12:30 a.m. here. Okay.
Yeah, it's late there.
Yeah, it is. So I'm going to say good night. Y'all be careful out there. Take care of yourselves, and go ahead and take us out with our
And
famous last words.
hug your babies.
That's right. Life is short, and our time with them is even shorter. And you know what? I don't ever want somebody to miss out. I don't ever want anybody to have regret. Please go out there. Tell your children you love them every single day. Okay, guys. See you tomorrow. Bye, guys. Or see you later today,
Bye,
actually.
everybody.
Bye, guys. Good night.
Right? Bye, everybody.
Thank you.